this game and the season going forward, they've got to make this place a little bit of a fortress, and they've got to pick up points at home, but it's going to be very, very difficult for them today.
A pensive Juan Marleo on the bench takes a seat to his right today, usually occupied by Pep Guardiola. We wish him well, and good afternoon to you, Pep, if you're listening to us on BBC Radio Manchester this afternoon. We are underway then. Manchester City from left to right in the first half. Sheffield United from right to left. Greasy Chip Butty ringing off the cop to our right-hand side. Packed and everybody on their feet in that feature stand of Bramall Lane. Couple of long balls from kick-off as City hook it up midway inside the Sheffield United half. It is then flicked round the corner for Will Asula, one of the summer signings of Sheffield United, and Paul Heckingbottom, the Dane. He spent last season at Derby County. He was a sub in 13 of 16 games for Derby County last season, and here he is starting in the Premier League against the reigning champions. Edison on the ball. He's in a chalky green outfit this afternoon. Slightly darker tones on Wes Fotheringham, the Sheffield United goalkeeper, who conceded 3 to Riyad Mahrez in April in that FA Cup semi-final. Vardiol tries a stretch forward, loses the ball, but it runs away to Jack Grealish out on the left-hand side. He just rotates it back through to Vardiol, and across the back line for Nathan Ake. And if we look at the early, they may change in a minute without a position or whatever, but it looks Vardiol is left back, Ake is the left-sided centre.
Yeah, certainly lined up like that to start with. Yeah, that caught us all off guard a little bit. So yeah, well, interesting to see how he does out there.
Here is Vardiol on the ball again. Quiet couple of games to start his Manchester City career with. Came off the bench for his debut against Burnley, already 3-0 up at the time, and quiet last week against Newcastle United.
Yeah, we're already just 90 seconds into the game, and I think this is how it's going to be. Sheffield United sitting in the lower block, and you know there's not one player, only Edison in the City half, and I think this is going to be the story of the first half.
They're going to try and keep it tight, aren't they, Sheffield United? Played 2 minutes 0-0. No real test yet for Fotheringham. As Nicky said, the way that Sheffield United are sitting in, no test for Edison. It'll be interesting to see how long till he gets the first test. Don't expect, perhaps though, a goal fest between these two sides. Only 11 goals in their last 10 games as a pairing, and of those 11 goals, Sheffield United have scored just one. Brian Deane, all the way back in April 1993.
Interesting though, Matt, we did the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley together, and Sheffield United did have a couple of chances early on, and the game could have been different if they'd have taken those.
Very good point, they did. Not so much today on their home territory. Here is Grealish, 10 yards to the byline, getting the boos, not sure why. And he stumbles as he turns back out to the far side, trips on the ball, and he's conceded a goal kick for Wes Fotheringham. Jack Grealish getting regular starts now for Manchester City out on that left-hand side, getting that partnership with Erling Haaland in the middle. Perhaps not his fluid best just then.
No, he sort of stumbled over the ball, much to the delight of the cop at Sheffield United, giving him a little bit of stick. But he's the kind of player, I think, that thrives off a bit of stick. So Sheffield United fans ought to be a bit careful goading him. Sheffield
United never beaten Manchester City in the Premier League during 3 times out of 10 matches. As it's a header forward from Asula. Will be chased down, but unsuccessfully by Gustavo Hamer. Scored a great goal against Nottingham Forest last week, but Sheffield United still lost that one 2-1 at the City ground. Here's Ruben Diaz to the right-hand side of defence. Kyle Walker, the captain, scored the winner between the pair in Bramall Lane in October 2020 in their last meeting here. Long-range strike from him, drilled into the bottom corner. On his 100th Premier League appearance for the club, there might have been some that feared he wouldn't have many more to make in the summer in a Manchester City shirt, but that has changed a little bit. No official confirmation yet, but it does look increasingly likely that he's going to stay at Manchester City this season. Throwing down the near side for Sheffield United. Asula will try and control. He flicks it infield for Traore. Vardiol, he's there to help Manchester City out. Grealish and Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, much as the same. Sheffield had a little spell there, but City look like they're going to, control possession as you expect them to do. It was interesting then when Edison got the ball on the edge of his box. They were quite high, Sheffield United. I just wondered if, as we've seen before, when Haaland starts to make these runs in behind, he tried to go out to Walker and just overhit it. But it'll be interesting to see that how that progresses through the first half.
2 men keeping a close eye on Erling Haaland in John Egan and Jack Robinson this afternoon. Alvarez tries to turn 25 yards out. Haaland then looks seemingly from an offside position, but for now the flag stays down and play continues. Kyle Walker just outside the right corner of the penalty area near side as we look at it. Rodri into Kovacic, has a little flick to the right hand side, loses the ball. And Sheffield United on their charge up towards the halfway line lose out themselves. Now Bernardo Silva into the penalty area on the right hand side, just outside the 6-yard box. He's got plenty of men around him, tries to drill a low ball in, bounces away out towards the touchline. Kyle Walker's turned now to whip one in, and that is picked up on this occasion. Sheffield United's defence, and sent long and away. Nathan Ake will have that inside his own half. Nicky Weaver.
Yeah, terrific skill there from Bernardo Silva, what we expect of him. He chopped about 4 defenders up with one trick then. Fortunately, he couldn't quite get his cross into the danger area, but yeah, promising signs for City.
Stands just outside the centre circle inside the Sheffield United half. Bernardo Silva at the minute. Here's Ruben Diaz. Well, the Portuguese contingent of Manchester City, and the rumours of Matheus Nunes might only add to that as well. Here is Jack Grealish on the left-hand touchline, far side. Comes in field 2-3 yards or so and lays it back. Here's Vardiol, not adventuring too far forward. That looks like it might be Kyle Walker's job of the 2 full-backs this afternoon to stretch the Sheffield United defence. Vardiol again, 10 yards inside the Blades half. No real cut through yet for Manchester City against the Blades.
It's almost as if you want Sheffield United to have the ball a little bit further up the pitch, just to, maybe try and hit them on a little bit of a counter-attack, because if you look at them now, they're pretty flat 5 across the back there, and it's going to be pretty difficult to get down the sides and in between. So yeah, it's almost, you need Sheffield United to get more advanced to maybe create some space.
Paul Heckingbottom enthusiastically walked out to the edge of his technical area, almost on the pitch then, but he's slowly walking backwards after issuing some instructions to his players. No sign of Wanmar Leo yet from his seat in the dugout. He remains sat down and comfortable for now. Did look pensive and a little bit nervous perhaps before kick-off. We've played 6 minutes, 0-0. Bernardo Silva looks to attack the Sheffield United penalty area yet again. Now he bends one in left-footed. Haaland's got a flick up on the head that goes over the bar. Had to be crafty, had to be inventive, just didn't quite come off. 0-0.
Yeah, again, good ball in from Bernardo, whipped in with his left foot from the right-hand side, and yeah, it's a good run from Haaland, but he just got a bit too much perch on the ball. He needed to just sort of skim his head there to maybe loop over Fotheringham. Very windy, Mike, isn't it?
It's blowing, isn't it?
I don't know if we're in a wind tunnel, but yeah, 2 of the players' shirts are rattling around a bit.
Which is surprising because it's an enclosed arena. Usually in the open stands and where the corners aren't filled in, it does get a little bit worse, but you can see the shadows from the flags on the Tony Curry stand where we are. They're down on the pitch and you can see them flapping away. Long goal kick by Fotheringham, the header forward from Jack Grealish on the halfway line. Haaland is going to put Egan under a little bit of pressure. He dealt with it well, and Fotheringham was on the edge of his penalty area, ready to collect the ball and relieve that pressure.
Pretty much every time Fotheringham's had it, he's gone long, so I don't think they'll be looking to play out short at all. And it's sort of difficult because they probably haven't got the players, to play out like City have. But every time they've gone long, they've pretty much lost the ball. So from Sheffield United's point of view, they've got to try and retain possession for a little bit longer than they have.
It could be a long afternoon for the Blades. They started with 2 defeats from 2 at home to Crystal Palace, then away to Nottingham Forest on their return back to the Premier League. There has been an early goal at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Aston Villa 1. Another 2 o'clock kick-off. Aston Villa in European action in the week, trying to qualify for the Europa League. Matty Cash has got the goal in that game for anyone who maybe has an eye on their fantasy team. We've had a poor start this weekend to my fantasy side. Could be improved this afternoon, maybe. Here's Rodri coming forward, midway inside the Sheffield United half. The challenge comes in, and then all of a sudden City are a little stretched here, but Sheffield United have got to make the right decisions as Hamer was venturing forward. The pass through was pretty poor, and Ruben Diaz, Edison and Ake between them have managed to pick it off, and City come forward again.
Yeah, probably the best situation Sheffield United have been in. Rodri got dispossessed, hit him on. It was a bit of a 3-on-3. Ball got played through, but Diaz was the right side of the attacker and eased it back to Edison. And yeah, that's the best situation Sheffield United's had. It's amazing the lift the crowd got just by having a little bit of possession over the halfway line.
Yeah, I remember Sheffield United came to the Etihad Stadium and sat in for 60-70 minutes a couple of years ago and then really went for it at the end, nearly nicked something. City did win 1-0 that day, and the Blade fans are going to have to help their team, perhaps when they need it most. Here's Kovacic in from the left-hand side. Rodri in close proximity takes over the possession of the ball, then out to the far side touchline for Jack Grealish to have a run at George Baldock. He's the one change for Paul Heckingbottom in the Sheffield United side today. Rodri curls it in, back post, looking for Walker, but it's headed away on this occasion by Ben Osborne, the other wing-back, diving header out of the box as the cross came in, this time early from Ruben Diaz. Kovacic just flicks it back into the centre circle, under a little bit of pressure from Traore.
Yeah, so far they've defended the wide balls in very well. Sheffield United, they've been there's only Haaland who had that flick header that went over. So yeah, City have put some decent balls in, but Sheffield United have defended them well so far.
Erling Haaland looking to become the quickest player to 40 goals in the Premier League. He's on 38 rather, in 37 games so far. Alan Shearer and Andy Cole got to 40 in 45 games.
Kevin De Bruyne, he'll comfortably beat that record.
You would expect so.
He comfortably beats most records, to be fair, doesn't he?
For the record that could go today, Pep Guardiola, if I know he's technically not here, but he's still the manager of Manchester City. It'll be his 200th game in the Premier League to win. He'll do it in 55 fewer than, as the header comes in from Haaland, easy one for Fotheringham to save. He'll do it in 55 fewer games, Pep Guardiola, than Sir Alex Ferguson managed. It's taken Pep just 269 games to get that 200th win. If it happens today, at the moment though, after 11 minutes, Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0. It was a weak header in the box from Erling Haaland, who had space, really put the neck muscles behind it, but just didn't generate anything from it.
Yeah, it was a good ball in from Alvarez. It was just a little bit behind him, I think. And he was probably, 10-11 yards out, slightly back stretching, and, he got it on target, but it didn't trouble West Lotherham at all.
Sheffield United tried to come down the right-hand side with Traore, just slipped and ran out of room at the same time. Ball went over the byline. City goal kick away to our left-hand side. The City fans behind Edison at the minute on the lower tier of the stand to our left-hand side. Here's Grealish on the left for Manchester City. Far side, squaring up once again against Baldock. Drifts the ball infield, uses Rodri. Now Kovacic. Dodgy touch, but somehow has managed to take a deflection. Haaland uses his strength, and Manchester City have the first corner of the game out on the left-hand side. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see if they try and work. Sometimes if you're going to work on a particular corner routine, you'll do it on if you're going to do anything fancy, you'll do it on the first one. But yeah, like I said, they put some good balls in so far, so Sheffield United have defended them well so far, and they're going to have to be on their toes here as well. Everybody inside the penalty area for Sheffield United in those red and white shirts. Corner on the far side then to City, who've got 6 or 7 shirts in there. Haaland runs to the near post, tries to flick it on. Ake, Diaz in the 6-yard box, had his back to goal, was challenged, and Sheffield United clear it away. It was a crafty corner, and it very nearly came off, but it's still alive here with Walker feeding through Rodri, whose first time cross from the right of the penalty area sails behind. Goal kick Sheffield United. Really disappointing cross from Rodri there. He got in a really good position. You wanted to sort of whip his foot round it, but he sort of put it straight over the crossbar. It was a good corner in. Obviously they worked on that near post one. It looked like Haaland had a swing at it. I think it was Ake may have got a touch, and Sheffield United defended it well, but a half chance for City. Now they want to use the pace of Traore down the left this time. Diaz across to cover, and referee says goal kick Sheffield United. And their fans certainly felt they were also going to get a corner, but not the way that the referee here this afternoon is Jared Gillett, not the way that he saw it. So we played 14 minutes, Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0. They've certainly got a bit of pace up there, Mark, haven't they? They're going to miss Ndiaye this year. Who they sold to Marseille was terrific for them last year, but they've certainly got a bit of pace up there with Asula and Traore. So, and we've seen over recent seasons that City can be, susceptible to the counter-attack when opposition have got pace. So that's what Sheffield United are going to have to try and feed on today. Traore there, 12 goals in 14 games this season. When he was playing for Häcken in Sweden. Their season starts a little bit earlier due to not being able to play over the winter time with the cold temperatures. So impressive
start to this season as City try and feed one in round the back. Good sliding challenge from John Egan. Otherwise, Erling Haaland was in and clearing the penalty area. But little warning there for Sheffield United as Vardiol. Nice little turn. Not sure whether he meant it too much, but now he's on a run down the left-hand side. We'll send it to his right-hand side for Walker from distance. His shot takes 2-3 deflections and Fotheringham scoops it up in the box.
I think you can see there, I think it was Guardiola who played, nearly got Haaland through, and a couple of touches there. I think you can see why he's playing on the outside. Aki's one in because he's probably a little bit better on the ball than Aki. Aki's obviously a brilliant defender, but going forward it looks really promising for Guardiola there. He slipped a great ball down the side. I think it was John Egan who just got a challenge in, else Haaland would have been free. But it's typical Haaland, this sort of 45, 50 yards out from goal, and he's always on the shoulder, always looking to run in behind. So yeah, Sheffield United have got to be very careful, not being too high when they've got possession of the ball.
So 0-0, bit of treatment here to Ben Osborne, who's gone down in the Sheffield United penalty area. Physios are on. Paul Heckingbottom's got half his squad around him. Still no sign of Wanmar Leo. There's a couple of people just resting an iPad on top of the dugout. I wonder if Pep Guardiola is on the other end of that iPad feeding maybe some instructions. Maybe he's happy with what he's seen so far, but as Paul Heckingbottom has to readjust things, maybe given the start Sheffield United have had, 0-0 yes, but under a lot of pressure. City actually, it's just more of the same. They don't need to change anything. Yeah, interesting you said Paul Heckingbottom, a former teammate of mine at Sheffield Wednesday. He keeps that quiet these days, but yeah, he's got his players together. But yeah, I think he'll be reasonably happy. I think City will be reasonably happy. They've had, the lion's share of possession, which you would expect. Not had an absolute clear-cut chance yet, but they've had a few situations, and from Sheffield United's point of view, it's just how long they can keep in the game like this. Once you go one behind to City, it's going to be very difficult. But I think, so far, like opening third of the first half, if you like, both teams will be reasonably happy. But it looks like Sheffield United are making a change here. Well, I think, the afternoon is over for Osborne. It was started all three of Sheffield United's games in the Premier League so far, but his afternoon ends after 17 minutes. In his place comes on Yasser Larouci.
I think he's had quite a good start, to be fair, Osborne. He's made some nice clearances, got a couple of challenges in, so yeah, he'll be very disappointed to go off.
Larouci, the loan signing from one of the CFG sister clubs, Troyes in France. He's a former Liverpool player as well from their academy. Fotheringham once again takes the goal kick long following Osborne's treatment, and it's bumbled around a little bit inside the City half. Rodri again, the insured touch, and now Walker tries to skip past Larouci, who has a little nibble at him. Referee didn't feel there was anything in that towards City. The free kick. Walker then recovers the ball and plays it back to his own penalty area. He would have liked to have headed towards the Sheffield United penalty area, I think, showing he's still got pace.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he loves sprinting. He's one of the fastest players we've Premier League's probably ever seen. It's a big game for him as well against his former club. He's a boyhood Sheffield United fan. I think he's made no secret that he'd perhaps want to finish his career here. But there was talk of him going, and at one point it looked like he might be going. So, like I said, I don't think anything's official yet, but I think it's good news that he's staying. I think he's got another couple of good years left in him.
33, Kyle Walker celebrated that a couple of weeks ago. Born and raised in these parts, and great Premier League career. Kovacic is on a storming run down the middle here and wins a free kick for his troubles as well as he's fouled. Picked the ball up on the halfway line to the left of the centre circle, just kept running, and Sheffield United, the only way to stop him was to cut him down, pull him down, and one nibble, two nibbles at his feet. Traore doing his best. Kovacic held him off till it was just a little bit too much, and free kick to City.
Yeah, it was a great run from him. He's a good ball carrier. I think we touched on it beforehand, and a bit of a unspectacular signing, if you like, but he'll be someone who does a very, very good job. Obviously they lost Gundogan, so I think it's a good signing, Premier League experience, and yeah, he did fantastic there. And like I said, Sheffield United had no choice really to bring him down. I think he's a little bit far out for the shot, probably best part of 40 yards out, 35 plus, but very dangerous situation.
Alvarez and Bernardo Silva are the ones having a look at it. Alvarez skips over the ball, Bernardo clips it in, header is there for Rodri. Ake, 1-0. He's offside, the flag goes up. Well, Rodri won the header, that went vertically in the air. Ake was first to react. He puts it in the bottom right-hand corner, but the flag was up instantly from the linesman on this near side.
Yeah, the goalkeeper, if you watch the replay, the goalkeeper slips massively as the ball comes in from Silva. Yeah, he is offside, and it's Rodri who heads it up in the air. The goalkeeper looks like he's going to come for it, then slips, and then that allowed Ake in. So he's got away with one there a little bit, Wedford, but it was the correct decision. It was just a shoulder offside, if you like.
Yeah, it was Rodri on the initial run through from Bernardo Silva. Ake would have been onside, but VAR is checking this. And I think it is a quick decision as well, given the fact that the referee has said to Wes Fotheringham, let's play on. Rodri's offside confirmed on the big screen as well. So Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0 after 20 minutes here at Bramall Lane. Alvarez won the ball back but then lost it on the edge of the Sheffield United penalty area, and City harassing Sheffield United as soon as they get on the ball. The press is quick, the press is high, and City have it with Ruben Diaz.
And that's the first time that Wes Fotheringham's tried to play out from a goal kick, and City pressed the life out of him and won the ball back in a really dangerous area. So it's, I think Sheffield United don't just think they're going long.
Yeah, they won't be doing that again, will they? 0-0. Here is Alvarez on the left, supporting Jack Grealish for now. Rodri. Diaz midway inside the Sheffield United half, had a look into the box. Goes right to Bernardo Silva instead. Now Walker, little sidestep to take the ball past Larouci. It's a deep cross to the back post. Jack Grealish will go chasing all the way out towards the far side and try and keep it in, and he does on the half volley. Send it back to the halfway line, but he must have run out of time, run out of room. It's going to be a Sheffield United throw-in on the far side there, right, level with the corner of the penalty area. Another goal at Turf Moor, another goal for Matty Cash, another goal for Aston Villa. So Burnley 0, Aston Villa 2. Burnley playing their first game since losing to Manchester City on the opening day. They were due to play Luton last week, but Kenilworth Road not ready yet. Means that Burnley have had to wait a little while. Newcastle, Liverpool later, big game at St James's Park as well. I'm sure City on their way back from Bramall Lane. We'll have an eye on that. Pass back from Sheffield United, a bit risky. No one from a blue shirt of Manchester City able to do too much with the ball. Haaland pressed Fotheringham, the goalkeeper, who was on the chase inside his own penalty area. Here is Rodri, right to the centre circle. Bernardo Silva, 0-0. And Nathan Ake now inside the Manchester City half. He just jogs into the centre circle. There's been a lot of this game where City are allowed to slow the ball right down, walking pace almost, because particularly in these parts on the halfway line, there's just no pressure from Sheffield United. Yeah,
I think Sheffield United are quite happy for City to have the ball in and around the halfway line. There's no point in going pressing because they'll get picked off. So yeah, it's pretty much the story of the first half. Sheffield United have just got to try and be a little bit tidier in possession. They're working the socks off to try and win the ball back, and then when they win the ball back, they turn it straight over again. So it's been a difficult half, Sheffield United, but they'll be delighted midway through the first half. But you just feel that City are going to start turning the screw soon.
It remains goalless. Here's Ruben Diaz, right-hand side of the field, the near side for Manchester City as we look at it from our position at the back of the Tony Curry stand. Here on BBC Radio Manchester and anywhere in the UK on BBC Sounds. So if you're heading out and about, you can take us with you this afternoon and listen to the game wherever you're going in the UK. Here's Ruben Diaz on the right-hand side. Haaland let it run past him, and the ball never got to Bernardo Silva, too far in front of him. Cleared away by Sheffield United. It's another Manchester City throw.
It's quite strange, isn't it, without Pep being there, sort of gesticulating and, making every tackle and winning every header and getting really animated on the line. So it's quite unusual for, is a lonesome man there, Paul Eckenbottom.
He is. He looks to his left. I don't think you'll have seen Juan Marleo yet this afternoon next to him on the edge of the technical area, but as we've said, perhaps no need either. Here's Diaz towards Vardiol out on the left-hand side in the sunshine here in South Yorkshire. A little strip that almost draws level with the edge of the penalty areas, the bit of shade that we have on this near side. Walker on the right in the shade, heads towards the corner of the Blades penalty area. Back he goes to Diaz. It's a right-footed pass to Bernardo Silva. Just outside the 18-yard box, he runs towards the byline, cuts it back once again. It's Kyle Walker, Rodri, Kovacic just slips into a little gap in the middle. Nowhere to play it forward, though. Has to go back to the right-hand side, and City will now try and stretch Sheffield United as they move to the left with Vardiol into Alvarez. Nice little pass that from Vardiol. And Alvarez was on the same wavelength, but not for the first time in this game. An infield pass from Alvarez. He's picked off by the Blades, who themselves now want to be creative and push it forward with a little flick through, but it doesn't come off. Vinny Souza will not get a chance to run at the City defence, and the blue shirts of City have it again. Really
loose from Alvarez there, but on the edge of the box. But what was really impressive, he was the first one to be charging back, and he ended up being in his own half, winning the ball back. So that's pretty much, what you've got to do if you want to play for one of Pep's teams.
And City looking to win 3 from 3 at the start of the season for the first time since Pep's first season in charge, all the way back in 2016. For a side that's won trophy after trophy and 5 Premier Leagues in 6 years. Bit of a surprising stat of perhaps how slow they've started, but they've always picked it up well. They have started well this season. Here is Kovacic into the box. The pass came from Grealish. The block comes in from Ollie Norwood. And Grealish concedes the throw on the far side, but Kovacic getting involved there.
Yeah, he's really sort of last 10 minutes, he's really had a bit more of an influence on the game. Got the ball out to Grealish there, but yeah, it was a good effort from Grealish. Down the wing, flicked it back inside of Kovacic. He had a good shot, and it's well blocked by Ollie Norwood. You just get the impression that City are just starting to pick the pace up now. We're just starting to probe that Sheffield United back line a bit more. And hopefully they'll be able to break through in before half time.
So 0-0 it remains, 26 minutes played. Certainly the best attacking move that Manchester City have probably had in this game there, the little combo between Grealish and Alvarez and Kovacic rather. Still no breakthrough though. Here's Bernardo Silva on the halfway line. Kyle Walker matching him stride for stride out on the right hand touchline. Bernardo Silva then pirouettes 360 on the ball and maybe perhaps make up his mind as to what he wanted to do, but Walker's just flicked a lovely ball through to Haaland, who will use his body well. The ball may run away to Alvarez, and it's wide of the left-hand post. Brilliant work from Erling Haaland there on the right-hand side. Used his body so well to then try and get the turn and the angle of the shot. As the ball ran to Alvarez, you'd probably back him to score. He couldn't find the net, and City have a corner on the far side.
Yeah, it's Kyle Walker flicks the ball inside. Haaland backs into, I think it's Robinson or Egan, and yeah, it ends up falling to Alvarez, and it ends up being a great save from Wes Foderingham, the best chance of the game so far.
And the corner near post is dealt with by Sheffield United, but City have it again. Here is Alvarez. He puts the cross in left-footed to the edge of the 6-yard box. This time it is Robinson to help it away. City have a throw-in.
Just hanging on here a little bit, Sheffield United. You can see City starting to put more pressure on, putting balls into the box, getting good situations around the edge of the box. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. It's when and not if.
Absolutely, and certainly Haaland gave them a big scare then. Just the strength, isn't it, in the box? Sheer strength. The Sheffield United defenders are not weak
all week.
Yeah, and he just brushed them off, really, didn't he?
As we know, he's superhuman, isn't he? So he's faster than everyone else, stronger than everyone else, and he did really well there. Really good forward play.
It's still 0-0 though. That's the voice of Nicky Weaver, the former Manchester City goalkeeper, with us on BBC Radio Manchester this afternoon. Rodri's found some space, edge of the D. He can hit them from there. This one he rolls to the right-hand side of the box of Walker. It's a low one in right across goal. And behind Grealish, nor Haaland could get there. And it's going to be a Manchester City corner, despite the appeals and the protests from the Kop.
Yeah, it's a great ball in from Walker. Whips it in with his right foot. He put it in the corridor in between the goalkeepers and the defender, and Haaland's there. He went to the near post, the ball went to the back post. Grealish comes in the back post, but it's well defended in the end. It's another City corner.
This time Alvarez raises 2 hands in the air out on the far side, the left. He sends this one in swinging delivery that then is dealt with by Egan. Headed out. It's a Manchester City throw.
Must be 15 minutes since Edison touched the ball. It's been that one-sided.
He could have.
I think I could have played this opening half an hour or so.
He could have read the Sunday papers and all the supplements that come with it as well, I think, Edison, for the lack of action that he's had in this game. Yet to be tested, 29 minutes in, 0-0. Wes Foderingham really hasn't been overly tested himself. The defence most certainly has of the Blades. As City look to go through them. like a blade through hot butter, maybe. Lovely flick over the top from Bernardo Silva. Diaz, Walker on the right-hand side. Diaz was in the penalty area, pulled the ball back out for Kyle Walker. Now Bernardo Silva tries to worm his way past Vinny Sousa. He's pulled down. It's another one of those where the only way to stop him is to foul them. And Manchester City have a free kick, 25 yards out, right-hand side of the penalty area.
Yeah, great play from Bernardo. He's great to watch, isn't he? The sort of way pirouettes and twists and turns. I bet he's good on the dance floor on a Saturday night. But yeah, the only way to stop him at the minute is to bring him down. It's a really dangerous one.
Better than me on the dance floor last night at the wedding I attended anyway, most certainly. If only I had the moves like Bernardo Silva. 0-0, but can City break through here? Alvarez and Bernardo Silva. Kyle Walker's, I think, just had a quick word in the ear of Alvarez as he's jogged past him. So it's either the left foot of Bernardo or the right of Julian Alvarez. It is a three-man Sheffield United wall. One very tall player in Osula. The rest are a little bit short in stature. It is the right of Alvarez that bent in but over the bar. He went for goal. I think Fotheringham probably had it covered. Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0.
Yeah, never really enough conviction in the strike. Perhaps Bernardo would have been better off whipping it in, but he's maybe seen a gap on the near post and tried to whip it around the wall. Sheffield United again tried to play out and nearly got caught.
But they have whipped it to the halfway line and can't play it. They rushed that. They were looking for Osula down the middle. Traore involved there. But Nathan Ake read it all the way and stopped it before it got to Osula. Almost as if they got excited that they were going forward.
The fans certainly did. We'll just see what happens with Grealish here down the left-hand side.
Just outside the corner of the penalty area. Plays it back to Vardiol. Vardiol to Ruben Diaz, and City now move it from the far side, the left to the near side, the right, with Bernardo Silva again spinning and dancing on the ball. But that time better work from Gustavo Hamer, back doing his defensive duties, and he made it work on this occasion. City send the long ball to the right-hand side. Larouci clears it out for a throw-in, and to Manchester City level with the penalty area.
Yeah, the Sheffield United fans are getting behind Sheffield United here. They're holding on well. Sort of 10 minutes ago it looked like City were going to start really putting the pressure on, and they have done, to be fair, but they only had one clear-cut chance, from that was Alvarez, and it was well saved by Wes Fotheringham.
Here is Kovacic, who himself has had half an opportunity. Rodri to Alvarez, who looks to set off again. This time it's a left-footed cross into the penalty area that doesn't get near Haaland nor Bernardo. Walker knows exactly where Bernardo is. It's a no-look flick over the top pass, but he still finds his teammate Kyle Walker. Then accusations of handball against Bernardo Silva. Ball runs over the byline anyway. Sheffield United goal kick. They did have that little moment a couple of minutes ago. Nicky Weaver, Sheffield United trying to get through, but as I say, they seem to rush it, and Nathan Ake read it easily enough.
Yeah, he did, Ake. Like I say, he rushed it a little bit. You could certainly sense the excitement from the fans, and I think the players got a little bit excited as well. But you know, how long can Sheffield United sort of keep defending like they're defending? It is his last-ditch defending at the sort of the last 15 or 20 minutes. So yeah, if they can get to half-time at 0-0, they'll have swam the channel.
Mentally, how exhausting is it?
Well, when you see games like this, it's generally you see teams holding on, and then the top teams always get goals late on because it's so difficult. You know, it's difficult when you've not got the ball. You've got to concentrate. Every single player that City have got can create something out of nothing. You've got to ride your luck at times. You've got to hope your goalkeeper helps you out. So yeah, Sheffield United are doing terrific so far, but they've got a long way to go.
Here they come down the right-hand side. Hamer plays the ball out towards Baldock, who'd gone on the charge. City have dealt with that, and here's Bernardo Silva just outside his own penalty area. Caught in possession, and Edison has a touch because the challenge came in from Hamer on Bernardo Silva.
A little bit casual there from Bernardo Silva in his own box, and yeah, nearly gifted Sheffield United a chance. So yeah, they've got to just not be too comfortable. City. It's 0-0. They obviously got a big foothold in the game and they're dominating the play, but they don't want to do anything silly.
It was unnecessary from Bernardo Silva that as well. He had time, he had space, he had teammates, he had options, and somehow let Hamer in, and Edison had to react quickly and pick the loose ball up, which he did. He'll probably be thankful for the touch. 34 minutes played, 0-0. But it is the cop that you can hear. Sheffield United have a little something about them at the minute now. with City trying to quieten them down. Alvarez, half volley flick across the penalty area looking for Erling Haaland. Here is Grealish to react against Baldock, sends it through. Alvarez, the angle will be tight, he'll want to pull it back. Huge appeals of handball.
Yeah, penalty.
Penalty to Manchester City given by Jared Gillett, the referee. As City with Alvarez tight to the byline, trying to pull it back for Erling Haaland. The sliding defender in trouble, and penalty given. An advantage now, maybe, turning to Manchester City. John Egan, the captain, his left arm was out.
Yeah, there's nothing intentional there, but his arm's out and it's going to be a penalty. It certainly won't get overturned. There's nothing he can do about it, but his hand, he knows as well. You can see him bashing the ground. It's when he goes to make the slide, it's just a natural position, although it's unnatural away from his body, and very unlucky for Sheffield United. But they have been sort of riding the luck the last 15 or 20 minutes. So yeah, it's going to be Erling Haaland against West Fotherham.
One of their longest serving players, John Egan, the 30-year-old Irishman. Played with them the last time they were in the Premier League as well. But it will be Erling Haaland from the spot to help, hopefully, give Manchester City the lead. Fotheringham palms the crossbar, bouncing on his goal line. The referee with a little delay here as he checks the penalty area and tells the players no encroachment. The cop, the fans of Sheffield United behind the goal to our right hand side all stand up, all waving their arms, trying to distract the big Norwegian of Erling Haaland, who takes 4, 5, 6, 7 strides back to the edge of the penalty area. It is Erling Haaland, it's hit the post, Haaland hits the post, and Manchester City missed the penalty. The follow-up flies out to the far side. The Norwegian misses from 12 yards, and still City can't find a way past Sheffield United. He smacks the right-hand post, Erling Haaland, left-footed. Fotheringham was on his line, and maybe those Sheffield United fans did put Erling Haaland off. Fotheringham died the wrong way, that wouldn't have mattered, but the woodwork was there, and it denies Erling Haaland.
Yeah, he sent Fotheringham the wrong way. He had all the goal to aim at, but he's just slightly pulled it from his aim spot. It's hit the inside of the post and gone out. As you can hear, it's give the fans a big lift here at Bramall Lane.
Well, that was City's chance to quieten them down. They were already starting to get vocal with their side holding out against City. 37 minutes played, Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0, but that has just turned the volume up that little bit extra now.
Yeah, you'd have put your mortgage on Erling Haaland scoring there, especially when he sent Fotheringham the wrong way, but he slightly pulled it. Didn't seem the greatest striking it. He struck the inside of the right-hand post, and luckily for Sheffield United, and unluckily for City, it stayed out.
Well, still, we are goalless. 8 minutes to half-time on BBC Radio Manchester and anywhere in the UK on BBC Sounds. Will that now anger City and push them harder and better, faster, stronger, quicker to break Sheffield United down? Here's Kovacic on the left-hand side, right on the halfway line. Hamer squares up against him. Rodri infield. Jack Grealish has made a run, but Rodri hasn't used that as an option. Alvarez back towards the Sheffield United penalty area, so goes into his own half, uses Nathan Ake. Diaz on the right of the centre circle rolls the ball across it and uses Joško Vardiol. Here is Grealish again, a little bit deeper than perhaps he would like to be. Kovacic can't feed the ball through to Erling Haaland and Sheffield United. A little bit of clever play, clever footwork from Sousa. Now it's sent forward towards Asula on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Diaz doing his defensive duties. Sousa, Oscar-worthy perhaps the way he went down there. But referee was unmoved by it, and Manchester City have to play.
Yeah, you can just sense a little bit of belief inside Bramall Lane, can't you, since the penalty miss? The volume's gone up. The fans have got quite excited, and rightly so, because at nearly 39 minutes the ripped your arm off had been 0-0 against City. So yeah, so credit to Sheffield United. Obviously a big miss there from City, but United are holding on, and like I said before, if they can hold out to half time, get in there, get a breather, Paul Leckingbottom can get some messages across and see how they do second half.
Here's Rodri, right-footed pass to the right-hand side of the field and near to find Bernardo Silva, who gets to the corner of the penalty area. He pushes it back out of the box. Walker with a low bobbling ball into the penalty area, but Again, the Blades have done well, defended it well, read it well, and Larouci will try and set off down the left-hand side. He won't get very far, I don't think. Oh, Sula's got in front of his man, Ruben Diaz, because he's come from an offside position. Diaz had his hand up to the linesman on the far side before the flag went up. He knew, and Manchester City will have a free kick inside their own half.
Yeah, there's a good big presence up there from Will Osula. I've seen him play quite a bit for their youth teams over the years. He's someone with a lot of promise. Obviously, they lost Njai to Marseille a few weeks ago, which is very disappointing for him. So it'll be up to people like him and Jebison and Traoré to try and fill those big boots. Obviously, losing Billy Sharp as well, bit of a cult favourite here. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for Sheffield United, but so far in this game, they've done okay and they're hanging in there well.
Here's Nathan Ake. We are 5 minutes from half-time on BBC Radio Manchester. Tweet your thoughts in at BBC RM Sport. Have your say as Haaland is challenged. He loses the ball, and now one over the top has seen Traoré release. He's got nobody with him. 3 back for City here. Vardiol will be first up. Traoré will dart towards the byline, try and get a cross in just over Osula, and then it's very calm and composed from Kyle Walker to head it back to Edison, who makes the catch. Another bright moment for the Blades.
It's a great ball out wide from, I think it was Ollie Norwood, and Traoré looks quite bright. He's dinked a lovely cross in there. Osula comes to the near post and ends up being really good defending by Kyle Walker, who chested it back to Edison, who's not had much to do this first half. But just another reminder that Sheffield United can be dangerous on the break.
Absolutely, and they really do want to use the pace that Traoré has. They have done already in this game. 4 minutes from half-time, 0-0. Here's Rodri to Vardiol. Slipped as he passed that, Rodri, but it still came off for him. Here's Nathan Ake inside the centre circle, inside the Sheffield United half. Now Kovacic, Diaz, Kovacic again, a step to the right-hand side. The pressure comes from Osula. Diaz on the touchline. Walker challenged on his return pass back down the line. And Manchester City have a throw awarded by the linesman. I think some in Bramall Lane, I think myself included there, thought Sheffield United may have that one, but off Larouci last was the decision by the linesman, who's a lot closer to it than I am, in fairness to him. As we edge closer and closer to half-time, Manchester City have missed a penalty in this game. Erling Haaland hit the right-hand post. Ake, bright orange boots, strapped to his feet, gets to the halfway line. Uses Alvarez. City left to right in the closing stages of this first half. Grealish, Rodri bounces up in front of him, manages to get control, unleashes the shot, low along the ground from 20 yards out, central position, but straight at Wes Foderingham, who makes a comfortable save.
Yeah, we've seen him pull the trigger from these positions quite a few times over the last couple of seasons. Didn't quite get all of it, and it ends up being straight down Wes Fotheringham's throat, which he'll be relieved about, because it sort of opened up for him a little bit there on his favoured right foot, and he was probably only 21, 22 yards out. So disappointing effort in the end, although he hit the target.
Foderingham with the save, his first season in the Premier League. Yet to keep a clean sheet this season, but so far he is in this game. 0-0. 2 minutes out from finding out how much added time we've got under these new rules that we're still getting used to. Ball over the top on the right-hand side for Sheffield United has released George Baldock here. There are 5 red and white shirts ahead of him, most of them heading into the penalty area because they want the cross. Traoré just pokes it back, sells his teammate a little short there in Sousa, and Alvarez is able to get the challenge in.
Yeah, still no sign of Juan Marleo popping into the technical area yet. He's keeping quite a low profile here today.
He is. I think he knows as soon as he steps out, the cameras will be on him. But for now, as Sheffield United want a free kick for Jack Grealish's push on George Baldock, who now gets to his feet and races across to Jack Grealish to have a little bit of retaliation. City have the ball, Ake.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how long he puts up. There's only 90 seconds of normal time in this first half, and it has been pretty much all City. A couple of little situations from Sheffield United on the counter-attack. Obviously the big moment in the first half is the missed penalty from Haaland, which no one expected. So Sheffield United live to fight another day for now.
Bernardo Silva just tried to bend one to Haaland on the outside of his boot. Hasn't come off. 3-on-3 here for Sheffield United. Traoré has got to get past Ruben Diaz with the through ball, which he He doesn't manage. The centre-back of Manchester City able to deal with that. Here is Alvarez forward as City now look to stretch Sheffield United, who are out of position here. Here's Grealish into the penalty area on the left-hand side. Needs a little bit of support. Turns out of the penalty area and back in it. Grealish on the byline. Cross comes in and then bounces into Fotheringham's hands over Bernardo. I think Haaland's appealing for a penalty, saying that he was pushed over or pulled down in the box there. Nothing given. Let's have a look at the replays, Nicky Weaver.
He's got
a chance.
He's got two hands around him. I think it's Robinson.
Yeah.
I can understand why. I don't think there's perhaps enough in it for a penalty. He didn't sort of drag him to down, but he did manhandle him. The fourth official's just about to put up the injury time at the end of the first half here, which is going to be 4 minutes. So another 4 minutes for City to try and get one.
4 minutes starts now, and Kyle Walker starts his run down the right-hand side. Infield to Bernardo Silva, whose touch is heavy first time. His second one is back into the feet of Walker, who now finds Haaland. Haaland on the strength turn again. Manages to work it at Kovacic. Here's Rodri outside of the D. That's begging for Kyle Walker to hit it, but he chooses not to. Flicks it to his right. Bernardo Silva with the deep cross in. All players all tangle in the box. Haaland again with the appeals. Nothing given by the referee. Right melee inside the 6-yard box. It was a lovely stood-up cross from Bernardo Silva. Sheffield United player remains down inside that 6-yard box. What was your take on that, Nicky Weaver?
Yeah, it was a ball in. I think his referee stopped it for a head injury, so I think Baldock there. Oh, it seems to be all right now. They've stopped it. Look, but yeah, it seemed to be coming together. 3 or 4 players. Ball goes out wide. It looked like Walker was going to shoot. He played it into Bernardo, who dinks one in there with his right foot, and I think it's 6 to 1.5 dozen of the other, to be fair. And 2 Sheffield United defenders and Haaland, they've both got hold of each other, I think. So it's a little bit of. It probably looks a lot worse than it was, and these 4 players end up in a heap.
I agree with that. Haaland certainly has a pull on Egan's shirt there, doesn't he, as well as Baldock. I think Baldock goes over the top of Haaland, which is hence the injury. The referee here is just stop play after that treatment to Baldock. He's up, he's okay, and he's allowed to be back on the pitch as well pretty instantaneously. We've played nearly 2 minutes of the 4 that were added on. Tweet us at BBC RM Sport to have your say at half time. What can City do to find a route past Sheffield United, or is it very much more of the same? WhatsApp to 08000 321 333. Just start your message with the word Mank. Vardiol's header out to the left-hand side. Perfect time to score now for City. Grealish comes in from the left, still on his right foot. The ball never goes too far away from that right boot, but now he sees it to the right. Kyle Walker, Bernardo Silva twisting and turning yet again up against Jack Robinson. Cross comes early from Ruben Diaz, won't find Haaland's header. Shot comes in from Alvarez, hits Egan, flies over the crossbar. Manchester City have another corner, this time on the near side, the right.
Yeah, it's a good ball in again. He keeps complaining to the referee, Haaland. They feel like they're sort of doubling up on him. They feel like he's getting manhandled, but he's giving as good as he's getting. But another corner, and this will probably be the last action of the first half.
Yeah, referee having a word with Erling Haaland and Anel Ahmedmodzic, the Sheffield United right-sided defender. In the meantime, Alvarez has placed the ball down on this near side, so out-swinging delivery is what you'd expect from the right boot. Still the referee having some words. That includes with Kyle Walker, the Manchester City captain. Big appeals from Kyle Walker actually towards Jared Gillett, protesting about something he's seen either just a moment ago or early in the game. Right, we're ready for the corner. In it goes from Alvarez at the near post. It's poor. It's behind again because the clearance is poor from Sheffield United, but that is not a corner to write home about for Julian Alvarez.
So there's quite a lot of pushing and shoving going on here in the box. Aki's getting involved. The referee's coming over. Haaland's getting involved. So yeah, Aki's not happy about something, but again, but it wasn't a great ball in from Alvarez. Obviously, they're trying to work something at the near post, but I think at this late stage, he needs just to get the ball in the mixer.
Yeah, so left arm half raised. That one is a better corner. Diaz challenges the header, but then so does Sousa, and Sheffield United come away from the penalty area. Now Asula up towards the halfway line on the far side touchline. Challenge comes in from a recovering Ruben Diaz, and it's brilliantly made. Here is Grealish. We've nearly had the 4 minutes of added time. Grealish is fouled, yellow card as well. Manchester City will end this half with a free kick.
Yeah, yellow card for Baldock. He's had a few little nibbles this afternoon, but that was one too many for the ref. Again, you know, when Jack Grealish says, oh, it's quite a nice challenge actually, so yeah, deserving of a yellow card. And yeah, another dangerous position, and this probably will be the last action of the first half.
So Manchester City with this free kick, it's midway inside Sheffield United's territory. On the left-hand side, so this one is going into the penalty area. It certainly may as well, with it now going past the 4 minutes of added time that we were shown. Bernardo Silva, Julian Alvarez over it yet again for Manchester City. Paul Heckingbottom rests his hand on his chin, watching on. Bernardo Silva is the one to jog over the ball this time. Alvarez sends it in. The backwards header from Sheffield United has hardly cleared it. Now there's a big boot behind it from Osula up towards the halfway line, and that is half-time, and Sheffield United have probably got exactly what they wanted from that first half. A goalless draw so far. A little bit of luck with Erling Haaland missing a penalty. That will be the talking point. As you'd expect, it has been all Manchester City, all the possession. Edison has had nothing to do, but Sheffield United are keeping City at bay for now. At the break, it is Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0.
Thank you, Mike. Of course, Haaland's penalty hitting the post is a talking point, which we'll get to in just a moment. Before we do that, Nicky, at the halfway point, probably not a massive shock, but people would have expected City to have certainly created more chances, if not converted a few. What is it that Sheffield United are doing well enough to prevent that from happening for the Blues?
Yeah, I think they're defending really well. They're defending quite deep. They've sat it in numbers. They've pretty much dealt with everything that City have had to throw at them. Wes Fothergill made one great save from Alvarez. Obviously, the main talking point of the first half is the penalty miss that no one expected. So it gives Sheffield United, you know, a chance, and they've held on well. They've defended corners well. They've been first to the ball. They've sort of been, you know, trying to keep Haaland as quiet as they can when the ball's in the air and in dangerous positions. And, you know, Paul Heckingbottom will be absolutely delighted with how Sheffield United have defended in that first. From City's point of view, they've had the lion's share of possession, which we expected them to. Can they be a little bit more clinical in and around the edge of the box and a little bit more ruthless? But the game's certainly gone how we thought it would do in terms of possession, but not in terms of scoreline.
Again, we'll chat about Haaland in just a second. In terms of the way that City have lined up, in terms of the way they've approached this, is there anything that you think maybe they should have done differently, or is it just a matter of time, or in terms of where everyone's playing and who? Anything you'd change there? Not particularly. It'd be interesting to see if he does make a change. I mean, Phil Foden would love to get on and get into them little pockets, and could he slip balls down the sides of the centre halves and what have you. You know, Kovacic has done well. Bernardo Silva's looked threatening. Alvarez had some good situations. So yeah, listen, if Haaland converts the penalty, and it's 1-0, everyone's saying City's done sort of okay, but as it is, it's 0-0. Sheffield United will be absolutely delighted with that. You got the sense they were really hanging on towards the end, so you would imagine if you know, the longer it goes for Sheffield United, the more difficult it's going to get. You know, will they tire towards the end? But you know, City have just got to be maybe a little bit more creative around the edge of the box, be a bit more ruthless and clinical with the passes in the final third. I said, of course, that we'd mention that Haaland penalty, as Mike says it will be one of the major talking points at this point. Well, I want to share this tweet with you from a Sheffield United fan, actually, from Liz, who says, "Never a penalty, ludicrous. Sliding on the ground, how else is a player supposed to get balance but put their arm out? He's a yard away from it, he's not looking at the ball, there's nothing intentional about it." No, I mean, I understand the point, but I think in the rules are the rules, and I think it is a penalty. There's nothing he could do about it at all, but it is a penalty, and you know, the Sheffield United fans will be relieved that Erling Haaland sort of missed it, which, you know, was a big shock for everybody. But yeah, you just feel that Sheffield United have got to keep it at 0-0 as long as they can, because once City get one, you know, the floodgates could open. But, you know, Paul Heckingbottom will be absolutely delighted at half-time to be 0-0. In terms of just a quick one on that for fans watching who think it's harsh, and as you've said, you know, it may well be harsh, but there again, it is the rules. I mean, we saw it last week in the World Cup final with Kira Walsh. It literally brushed like a couple of fingertips. In this case, when a player is sliding and not stood upright, sliding along the floor with your arms behind your back is quite difficult. I guess you could argue it's dangerous for head injuries, maybe, if you've not got that balance and hands to... I mean, what would you say to that? Not in terms of the rules, but just from a player's perspective, really.
Yeah.
It is an awkward way, isn't it, if you're going to slide with no arms to support you?
You've got to sort of, it's almost like a stabiliser, isn't it? It's the same as going up for a header with, getting your arms out and what have you. But yeah, very difficult. He's gone into slide, he's cut the ball back, and his trailing arm that he's using there for stability. So there's no other way of really sort of sliding. It's just one of them unfortunate incidents from a Sheffield United point of view. I sort of do sympathise with him because there's nothing he can do. He wasn't looking at the ball, but the rules are the rules, and with the rules they are at the minute, that is a penalty.
It's one of those that you're really annoyed if it's given against you, but you're screaming for it if it's in your favour because you know it's in the rules regardless of whether it's fair or not. A couple more tweets, Nikki. One from Ben, who says, "We are lacking in the middle. We need De Bruyne back or put Foden there." Which again goes back to that question earlier that I was asking, do you think they've set up in the right way? Is it just a matter of time, or is that what they're missing? Do they need Foden?
Listen, I think we'll see Foden, whether it's at half-time, I'm not so sure. It might be around the 60-minute mark, but I think City, there's sort of not a lot they've done wrong. It's just they've got to be a little bit more clinical in and around that box. Obviously, Sheffield United are sitting in, they're quite happy for City to have the ball sort of 30 and 40 yards out, but when they get in and around that box, they've got to be a little bit more creative, a bit more clinical and ruthless. But yeah, I don't think the setup's wrong. I just think that at some point we're going to see Phil Foden. I think that'll give the City fans a lift, who've been pretty quiet this half. So yeah, something needs to happen. They just need a little bit of injection of something and a little bit of creativity. And but all I would say is that all the players that are still on the pitch can create something out of nothing for City, and I do think it's only going to be a matter of time before they break the deadlock. Yeah,
they do tend to find a way, and of course as time goes on, concentration and fatigue can set in. Of course, there's all different factors. A final tweet here, Nikki, from Ian, who says, "We're getting used to this now. Teams sitting deep, hoping to catch us on the break. Pep will always come up with solutions."
Exactly, and that's, we knew Sheffield United weren't going to be expansive in the play. They've tried to play out a couple of times, nearly got caught once. But yeah, Pep will have to come up with a solution, keep doing what they're doing, keep prodding, keep probing. As you mentioned before, the longer the game goes, the more tired the Sheffield United. There'll be lazy legs and lazy minds in there. Mistakes will happen, and City will get chances. It's just a case of, can they take those chances?
Thank you, Nikki. Mike and Nikki will be back with you for the second half of your big match commentary from Bramall Lane, Sheffield United and Manchester City. Scores elsewhere, of course, that one is 0-0. And there was a Haaland penalty miss, of course, in that first half at Bramall Lane. Also, it's Burnley 0, Aston Villa 2. In League One, in Rugby League, it finished Cornwall 18, Rochdale Hornets 12. And Max Verstappen leads from Sergio Perez at the Dutch Grand Prix.
Anna Jameson at breakfast.
BBC Radio Manchester.
This has been named as Edinburgh Festival's top gag. I started dating a zookeeper, but it turned out he was a cheater. I don't think that's funny.
No, it's not.
I think it's rubbish. I like this one by Anna Skill. Last year I had a great joke about inflation, but it's hardly worth it now.
Brilliant.
I like that one. I entered the How Not to Surrender competition and I won hands down.
Brilliant.
Anna Jameson at breakfast.
Back on Tuesday mornings from 6.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Well, it's Manchester Pride this weekend, which celebrates everything LGBT about the city, and the parade happened yesterday. You can listen back to our coverage from midday on BBC Sounds. The vigil will take place on Monday. A conversation that needs more volume around LGBT is inclusivity in sport, particularly around football. Well, our very own Mike Miney has hosted a panel of players, officials and fans for Football Pride. It's available as a podcast right now as part of our We're Not Really Here podcast, and here's some of what you can expect to hear from it.
Positive first, it's definitely changing. You know, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable, especially with the younger community. They're a lot more inclusive, understanding, accepting. Older fans and some older players, it maybe does still take a wee bit of time. But again, it's just lack of education. A lot of the hate or anyone that's shouting pejorative or homophobic language, I truly believe a lot of it is just lack of education. They're not truly understanding the hurt that it could give to someone that's standing right next to them, or who they're projecting that onto on the field.
Being a black man playing football and being bisexual, it hasn't necessarily been the easiest experience. And I do believe that led to me being very insecure with myself. I'm still in an adjustment period in terms of the cultural aspect of representing the LGBTQ+ community from a different perspective. I now have a lot more conversation with family and friends.
Coming out as a gay football referee, to me, I've been quite lucky where I've never suffered any homophobic abuse, and I've always, you know, just accepted who I am, and I've got on with it. It happens, I see it happen, I see it on a weekly basis happen on grassroots as well.
I've got lots of friends who are straight, lots of people approach me who are straight, who are really interested in the journey, who are really interested in how it's been, but there is still those people sitting in silence. And you know, I've been there, so many people have been there, and they're the people that we need to try and reach now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was just how difficult it was to come out when playing football and being surrounded by the football environment. It can feel quite toxic at times. The biggest thing from that perspective is you can't be what you can't see. The quote that I always used to say to myself was like, the fear of losing is more powerful than the prospect of gain. By being a representation of a successful gay man in sport, yeah, I think that's just really powerful. And if I had that growing up, then it would have been huge to see that representation and visibility.
To touch on Jordan Henderson, for quite a long time a very good ally for the LGBTQ+ community. It does sort of feel like a slap in the face for the community. But for Aaron Ramsdale and him speaking about his brother and his brother's experiences and their experience as a family, I mean, that was so heartwarming. So for someone at the absolute elite level such as Aaron Ramsdale to highlight the community and also highlight his family's personal experiences, I think is amazing.
To be honest, days like this, I really have to stop for a moment and reflect and think that how lucky we are to have people around us like this today. I think we are all going in a really positive direction. The one thing that we have to do as a collective is talking about it more, and I think the final point for me is visibility. Visibility is key, because unfortunately when I was younger, I didn't really see many people that I thought were like me.
And you'll be able to hear our special episode of We're Not Really Here, Manchester Pride special, after 4:30 on BBC Radio Manchester today, and also you can find it on BBC Sounds. Let's get a bit of reaction to yesterday on Total Sport now, though. Manchester United came back from 2 goals down to beat a 10-player Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford. For the first time in Premier League history, United found themselves 2 goals behind inside 4 minutes after an abysmal start. Then Eriksen, Casemiro and Fernandes turned it around.
Horror start.
And it goes into the middle of the penalty area. There's a scramble and it's gone in. I cannot believe this. Manchester United 2-0 down. Nottingham Forest have got a second goal.
Again, the character of the team was brilliant. Stay so calm, stay so composed, get back in the game, stick to the belief, stick to the plan especially, and then you see we played some very good football, scored 3 good goals, so a brilliant comeback.
Here's Marcus Rashford into the area, onto his left foot. What can he do? Across the face, and it's turned in, and it's Christian Eriksen who's done it. Christian Eriksen gets one back for Manchester United from close range. Rashford then plays it in. Fernandes continuing his run, squares it. Here's Casemiro. It's 2-2. Manchester United back level at the start of the second half. It was a strange free kick, but it's worked.
Absolutely, it is absolutely a marker. And you see this team can bounce back also in a game. If you have such a start, you have to get over. And it's not easy, but the team did. And so a big compliment to the team.
Bruno Fernandes to take it. United with 2 down in this game. This goes in. This place is going to erupt. It's Fernandes, right footed, and he scores! To the goalkeeper's right. Turner dived the right way. Fernandes has buried it.
I enjoyed it. Of course, you get the goals, who you concede. You really so upset, but the goals we scored, I really enjoyed it.
Reds boss Erik ten Hag there following United's comeback at Old Trafford yesterday. That's 2 wins and a defeat to start their season. More reaction on the Devil's Advocate podcast, which you can download from tomorrow afternoon. Second half of Big Match commentary on the way. If you want to get involved, you can text us on 81333. Start your message with the word Mank. We're on WhatsApp on 08000 321 333. Also start your message with the word Mank on Twitter at BBC RM Sports. And of course, we'll be taking your calls at the conclusion of the game, 0800 218 2255, where I shall be putting your questions and comments to Nicky Weaver and Mike Minay. So do get in touch. Quick reminder that from 5 o'clock today on Total Sport, it'll be all things rugby league with Jack Dearden and Trevor Hunt alongside me. Well, time for your second half now. Big Match commentary from Bramall Lane. It's Sheffield United and Manchester City, and your commentary team of former City goalkeeper Nicky Weaver and Mike Minay.
Stacey, thank you. Yeah, players back out. No half-time substitutions. Just that one in the first half for Sheffield United, with Osborne going off injured, so Larouci replaced him. Fotheringham in goal for the Blades. Ahmed Hodzic, Egan and Robinson as their back three. Although, really, it's been a back five defensively for Sheffield United, with Baldock and now Larouci filling in there as we get underway in the second half. Norwood, Souza in the midfield, Hamer and Traore with Asula up front complete the Sheffield United team. For City, Edison in goal, Walker, Diaz, Vardiol and Ake. The back four, Bernardo Silva, Rodri and Kovacic in midfield. Alvarez, Grealish and Haaland up front. City now in those sky blue shirts, white shorts, sky blue socks are right to left in this second half. Sheffield United in their red and white vertical striped shirts, thick striped shirts as well. Black shorts and black socks are from left to right. Ake on the halfway line for Manchester City. Now to Ruben Diaz out on the right hand side. We saw Michael Brown, the former Manchester City midfielder, at half time in the press room. Interestingly, Sheffield United's last win over Manchester City outside of the top flight was in January 2000 in the Championship. The goal that day for Sheffield United scored by Michael Brown. The goalkeeper that day for Manchester City won Nicky Weaver.
Yeah, I remember it well. We just sold Brown here, a couple of months before, and there's plenty of ironies in football, and he popped up and he scored about a 20-yard volley. Remember it well.
Flew past you. Here's Sheffield United on the ball, but lose it pretty quickly. Story of the first half, that. Now, story of the second half as well, with Diaz on the ball for Manchester City. Burnley have started the second half quickly. Goal back for them against Aston Villa, so Burnley 1, Aston Villa 2. Bernardo Silva, Walker, Silva again, corner of the penalty area, left-footed cross, headed away by Robinson. And then Traore went to battle for it. The loose ball fell to Rodri, who probably tried a brownie. It didn't quite come off, and over the bar it goes.
Brownies weren't quite 40 yards out, that is for sure. I'm not sure, I can't remember him scoring from 40 yards on his left foot before, but worth an effort, I suppose. But yeah, City, you would expect the second half to carry on, as the first half did. Sheffield United looking to hit City on the counter-attack. City dominate possession, but they've just got to be a bit more clinical, a bit more ruthless, and a bit more creativity around the Sheffield United box.
And Sheffield United in their last Premier League campaign set the record for the longest winless run at the start of a season. 17 games. It took them till January till they beat Newcastle United here at home. Newcastle's fortunes were a bit different then. They could, if they lose today, be 3 from 3 without a win. Sheffield United, City with a win, could be 3 from 3, but in terms of wins at the start of the season, they'd be the only Premier League team to do that. Diaz is crossing the right-hand side, goes there. No one in the sky blue shirt. The header back though comes to Rodri. Edge of the penalty area, he's done the same again over the bar and by some distance as well. Very un-Rodri. 3 minutes into the second half. Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0.
Yeah, it fell to him there. It's a defensive header that fell to him. He's 18 yards out and he's just leaning back a little bit, but that's a glorious chance. You'd expect him to at least work West Fotheringham there, and you could see how frustrated he was that he didn't hit the target. The effort before was a bit more of a speculative effort. That was a real chance.
He has to score, doesn't he, in that position, Rodri, or at least get it on target. Probably more fairly to him. 0-0. Sheffield United go long for the goal kick. Foderingham learned from that in the first half when they tried to play out from the back, and City's high press caused their defence some issues. The sun's gone in, overcast now at Bramall Lane, and the wind's picked up again as well, which will delight both myself and Nicky Weaver, who failed really to prepare properly for Sheffield weather. You should know better, you live here.
Excuses for me.
It's Rodri on the left-hand side for Manchester City. Walker, bright orange boots strapped to his feet. He sends in a early cross that is picked off by Sheffield United's Jack Robinson, and away out towards the far side. Here's Larouci. Turns up against Walker. Wants to play the 1-2 with Norwood and hasn't quite got it together. Alvarez now on the right-hand touchline picks the ball up, wins a throw-in. And Manchester City on that far side. It's a quick one as well, but as Haaland charged to the far side of the penalty area, so did Egan. And out for another throw-in on the far side.
Interesting that I think it's Doku, Cole Palmer and Phil Foden warming up, so whether they might be 60 minutes seems to be a really popular mark for substitutions these days. So it'd be nice to get a look at Doku today and see what he's all about.
Well, he would be something different, wouldn't he? He'd be attacking down the right flank, you would imagine, with a lot of pace. Be interesting to see how quickly he can link up with his teammates. Here's Alvarez on the edge of the D. He chested it up. I thought he was setting himself for the volley. It didn't quite happen. Now Rodri. A couple of misplaced shots from him. Flicks it to the right-hand side. Walker low. Haaland's there. Oh, he's wide. Well, Foderingham had already committed down to his right-hand side. Haaland had sent it the other side of him, but also the other side of the post. 0-0.
Yeah, it's good play from City, good play from Rodri. Put it wide to Kyle Walker, who cuts it back for Haaland. 8 yards out, you'd expect him to. He's got to hit the target. I know it comes on his right-hand side, it bounces in front of him, but yeah, he's got to score for me.
Has to. Best chance so far, apart from the penalty that he missed. He just cannot find the target here at Bramall Lane this afternoon. Erling Haaland. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 2, the other latest score in the Premier League today from 4:30. Newcastle against Liverpool, which is a really big test. Newcastle have had a couple of big early tests in the Premier League this season. Lost against City last time out. And now Liverpool at St James's Park today. We'll see how that one goes. Don't forget, you can have your say after the game here at Bramall Lane. Total Sports phone in 0800 218 2255. Nicky Weaver and Stacey Copeland will take your calls till about 20 to 5. And then a chance to hear our special We're Not Really Here podcast ahead of this game, but all surrounding Manchester Pride, which is this weekend. If you're celebrating, hope you've had a good time. And then from 5 o'clock, we talk rugby league. Jack, Trevor and Stacey, your Sunday trio to talk all things rugby league, and there's plenty to discuss after the weekend's games. It is sent away by Sheffield United after a lot of play on the edge of the box by Manchester City. Ball has rebounded all the way into the City half, and Edison probably just fancied a touch, really. He's come midway inside his own half and he's started the play off, and now there's a ball over top. Alvarez watches it go over his shoulder, tries to bring it down, he can't. It runs on through to Foderingham.
Just 6 inches above his foot there. He tried to bring it down. Difficult ball over his head, but yeah, I think City sometimes they've got to try and threaten him behind a little bit. When Sheffield United, you know, when they are a little bit higher up, because whenever City get possession, they're sitting so deep. When they are higher up, can they threaten him behind? As the cameras zoom in on Doku, so it'll be interesting to see if we see him, as we've just spoke about.
And also, first sighting we've got of Wanmar Leo on the edge of the technical area. Walker right hand side wins a corner. Good challenge comes in from Sheffield United, and their defender out on that far side, and Walker concedes the corner. He'll be happy with that, and Leo, after his 1 minute cameo on the touchline, is quickly retreating back to his dugout. So corner to City, far side the right. Alvarez on duty yet again for Manchester City. He's had a real mismatch of corners in this game. This one is short, he slips as he takes it. Bernardo Silva there, tries the reverse pass. Those two didn't read each other well, and over the byline the ball goes. It is a corner, a goal kick rather, to Sheffield United.
Yeah, just a waste again from City. Been quite frustrating. Obviously had a couple of great chances, but yeah, Sheffield United, you can sense the belief in the stadium. Be interesting to see if it'll be when City make this change, not if. Who it is, who comes off, and if there's any sort of change in the setup. But yes, it's just got to be a little bit more ruthless around that box, and They've got plenty of the ball, but in and around that box, Sheffield United have defended well, and City are going to have to take a chance soon.
Here's Rodri. To the right-hand side of him is Ruben Diaz. Sheffield United have 5 in a line right across their penalty area. BBC Radio Manchester live from Bramall Lane for your Total Sport commentary this afternoon. Here is Grealish now on the left, trickling his way towards the penalty area, now just inside it, lays it back to Vardiol, who rolls the ball under his left boot, chooses not to cross it. Kovacic has got his back to goal, has to turn out towards the right-hand side. Diaz, Walker on the right, he'll go with the cross with pace, it'll come to Kovacic on the deflection on the edge of the penalty area, and the clearance rather from Sheffield United. Kovacic controlled in his play, uses Vardiol. Here is Grealish into the box, wants it on his right foot, tries the low curling shot that he's blocked off. Now Rodri has it, out to the right-hand side, Walker. Cross comes in, downwards, oh no, he didn't connect with it at all. Alvarez, I think he actually put Grealish off and he was in a better position. Vardiol's won a corner. City all over it, Nicky Weaver, but haven't quite got that final product.
Not quite got the end product yet, but yeah, again, cross coming in from both sides. 2 or 3 City players in the box, just missing out on the header. Sheffield United defending well, but it's another corner. See if it's better than the last one that they managed to mess up.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Alvarez with a short corner. This time he doesn't slip. Kovacic returns it back to Alvarez. Block comes in. And it's not gone out of play for a corner nor a throw-in on this near side. So Kovacic picks it up. He beat Larouci to the ball. Here's Bernardo Silva. 25 yards out or so. Out to the right-hand touchline uses Kyle Walker. 0-0 between Sheffield United and Manchester City. A City side that have won their last 5 against the Blades. 1-0 the last time they were here. Vardiol and Grealish now not reading each other.
I think Guardiola would have been in if it had been on the same wavelength as Grealish. But yeah, just a little mix-up there.
Strange, in the last couple of minutes, that's happened a few times. There are new faces. Will be time to adapt to the City way, maybe. But for now, 0-0. What's Juan Marleo pass around there? I'm not sure if he just passed around a set of headphones so they can hear Pep Guardiola, or he's passed around the chewing gum, but either way, there is an assistant next to Juan Marleo, who has got headphones in and a phone in his hand, and that'll be Pep Guardiola. And here is Juan Marleo now on his technical area, waving City forward. They oblige. Kyle Walker on the right-hand side, 11 second half minutes gone. Diaz has space to operate in, flicks it on through for Alvarez. Haaland wants to return it back to Alvarez, but Sheffield United get a little flick on the ball. It's about the only touch they've managed to have, though, because City come again. Bernardo Silva 10 yards from the byline. 2 players around him, one of them Larouci. Here is Rodri. Diaz might go for it, and his shot looked on target, takes a deflection, carries it over the bar. It's another Manchester City corner. John Egan in the way on this occasion.
Yeah, let's hope they can make a better job of this corner than the last 2. They've ended up not getting the ball in the box at all, so it's just all City now. Sheffield United can't get out of their own half, so it's going to be a long 35 minutes or so for Sheffield United if it stays like this.
It's definitely settling, isn't it, for Manchester City? 12 second half minutes gone. In goes the corner. Fotheringham with a double-fisted punch away. It clears the box for now, and within that, Sheffield United have won themselves a free kick for a foul in the box. Obstruction on the keeper, maybe, not sure. But the Blades fans sarcastically applauding the referee. They feel something's gone in their favour.
Yeah, they'll feel they've not had much go their favour this afternoon. They'll feel hard done to by the penalty. They'll feel justice was done with Haaland missing it. So yeah, sarcastic cheer there. But I think at the minute Edison's on the ball for probably the first time this half, they'll be relieved just to get the ball away from their own goal.
Sheffield United have lost 9 of the last 10 against the reigning Premier League champions. Last beating Leeds in 1993, that long ago. Here's Grealish into the penalty on the left-hand side, looking to stretch that record out. Rodri with a touch and a low shot. Little touch down to his left-hand side. He then put everything behind with the laces of his left boot, but wide of the right-hand post. And again, by inches, Sheffield United survive another Manchester City attack. 0-0.
Yeah, it's good play from Grealish, sort of probing the defenders. Slips it into Rodri, who takes a lovely touch with his right foot, puts it onto his left foot, and we're right in line with it, Mike. And it was always the wrong side of the post. But a good effort.
It looked to be nestling into the bottom right-hand corner. Nicky Weaver's right. We were right behind it. Sheffield United have the ball. Osula, good chest control from here, and then Vardiol. Well, looked like he pulled him down, but the referee's given Manchester City a free kick, and well, that's got the Blade fans on their feet, gesticulating to the referee. They're not happy. Vardiol has gone down injured, and Paul Heckingbottom just waves his arms around and just says nonsense to the fourth official.
Yeah, it looks. I think it must have just. Has it just caught him in the face before? It looked, for all intents and purposes, I think there's a flailing arm just caught. Has it just caught him in the face there?
I think, yeah, it's Osula's challenge. He has caught Vardiol in the face unintentionally. Yeah. But the majority of the foul, and Osula's managed to get himself a yellow card too. The majority of the foul is on Vardiol, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Not the Sheffield United fans would agree, because they're not happy with the referee at all this afternoon.
Certainly not. Osula, the second man in the book as well then, alongside George Baldock. Here is Walker on the ball. Not going to be able to go forward. Villa have got a third now, so Burnley 1, Aston Villa 3 at Turf Moor. Another 3 goals shipped at home for the Clarets after City did so on the opening day. Grealish on the left. 1 past the Blades would be nice for Manchester City at the moment. 0-0 on the hour mark. Diaby with the goal, by the way, for Aston Villa. Here is Kovacic through to Haaland. This is the chance, and Fotheringham with a brilliant save. Haaland wanted it to lift it over the Sheffield United goalkeeper, but he palms it away and behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's a terrific ball, slipped through from Kovacic, and he's dinked it, and I tell you what, it's a great left hand from West Fotheringham. He sort of commits himself to narrow the angle. Haaland must think he scored. He just weren't enough pace on the dink, but it's a fantastic save. We all thought it was in, and he just sort of clawed it out of nowhere.
Yeah, good save from Fotheringham. In goes the corner, near post, all bounces inside the 6-yard box. Nobody got a touch on that from Julian Alvarez's corner. There's a glitch in the matrix. Traore slipped on the byline. The ball then hit the corner flag, then hit Traore and didn't go out of play at all. Here is Grealish inside the left-hand side at the penalty area. Back heels it to Alvarez, who smashes it near post, and Fotheringham is there again.
Yeah, he's starting to get a lot more to do now, Fotheringham. He made a great save a minute ago, and he's just made a good one there from Alvarez. So yeah, City really ramping it up now.
Here's Rodri for Manchester City. 0-0. Kovacic lets it run on through for Kyle Walker. Scored a screamer on this ground 3 years ago, and very nearly did the same again, but that one just lifts over the bar. Fotheringham knew that all the way, and still Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 0.
I'm not sure how, because they had a couple of great chances there. Haaland, on another day could have had 3, couldn't he? It was a great chance for him. Again, Alvarez had a chance as well. Great play from Grealish again, who's getting more and more over the ball. Left-footed shot from Alvarez, and a really good save down to his right-hand side from Fotheringham. And yeah, he's made 2 or 3 good saves in the last 5 minutes that are keeping Sheffield United in the game.
Well, certainly is. 17 minutes into this second half. Ball in Manchester City's half for now. Blues are right to left in this second 45 minutes. Here is Walker. There are men in front of him. He just lays it to the left-hand side, though, for Rodri. Now Kovacic, who just put Haaland through for that big chance a few moments ago. Grealish just creeps his way into the penalty area. No challenge comes in from Baldock. He stands in at back post. Haaland is there, and this time he scores. Manchester City have had to wait 62 minutes and sheer bombardment of the Sheffield United penalty area. But just past the hour mark, it's a Haaland header at the back post that puts them in front, and it's Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1.
Yeah, terrific play from Grealish, takes it to the bar line, dinks it up with his left foot over Fotheringham, and it's a back post header from Haaland. He's missed a couple this afternoon, but he was never going to miss that one. Terrific play from Grealish in the build-up. We were just speaking about him before. I was getting more and more involved in the game. He was sort of teasing the defenders. Was he going to go on his right foot, but he takes it on his left, stands a lovely ball up. Haaland pulls away to the back post. Grealish stands a lovely ball up, and it ends up being a simple header.
And the City fans behind that goal celebrating as Haaland just strutted around in front of them. That's what he does. That is goal number 39 for Erling Haaland in the Premier League. His third of this season. And there's an injury here, it looks like, to Wes Foderingham. Just seeing what
I think this might be the old nudge, wink one. Sometimes when you change the formation, the goalkeeper goes down. Paul Eckenbottom has got the player straight in, so there'll be. I don't think there'll be anything wrong with him here.
And he's receiving treatment. The substitute goalkeeper is warming up as well for the Blades. As Foderingham has his legs stretched by the physio, whether it's how he landed whilst chasing across his own goal for the Haaland header. Simple, nodded down header from 2 yards at the back post.
He'll be quite a relieved man, I think, Erling Haaland, because he's missed a few chances, for his standards. On a different day, could have had 3 or 4, but a great header at that. It was brilliant play from Jack Grealish. Stood it up lovely, and it ended up being a simple header. He pulled off to the back post. It's for me now. It's Sheffield United have really got to try and stay in the game and keep it at 1. But for City, they'll smell blood now and they'll want more.
Now, I assume for City nothing changes. What changes now for Sheffield United, or is it keep it 1-0 and maybe in the last 5 or 10 go and chase that equaliser?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of time left in this game. I think if they can keep it as it is for as long as they can, they won't be too disappointed with this, because when you play Man City, the game can get away from you in a 5 or 10 minute period. They've just got to, sit in, try and soak up some more pressure. Can they hit City on the counter, and then when 10 minutes to go, then they can start making changes. Then they can go a little bit more gung-ho and start committing men forward.
Possibly in this game the first time that Sheffield United's defenders have really lost Haaland and his positioning, and Jack Robinson, despite his best efforts of stretching, was never going to get to that header before Erling Haaland. Sheffield United now come forward. They get close to the byline inside Manchester City's half, away to our right-hand side, the end of the Kop here at Bramall Lane, who haven't seen much action in this second half when Sheffield United have been attacking. Here is Kovacic, thought about playing a lovely ball over the top, but thought better of it for Haaland or Alvarez. So 1-0 to Manchester City. 65 minutes on the clock. Here's Kovacic. Infield to Rodri. Rodri will just take a few steadying touches and lays it back 10 yards or so to Joško Vardiol. Ake inside the centre circle. Diaz available to his right hand side, and further over is Kyle Walker, who just retreats into the City half, plays a 1-2 in Rodri, and it's all back in the Sheffield United half once again. City, who have won 12 of their last 13 games against promoted opposition in the Premier League, dropping points in a 1-1 draw with Nottingham Forest at the City ground last February. The only little blip in that record. Long ball over the top to the right hand side. Walker should keep that in play, but then as he pats it down into the 6-yard box, Foderingham is there.
Yeah, good ball over the top from Rodri, I think it was, who put Walker in, which they've combined a few times those two this afternoon, and it just skidded off the turf and he couldn't quite get his foot round it to get it into Haaland. But the City fans now are, a bit louder than they have been all afternoon. I think they've been a bit frustrated, as of the players. But yeah, now they've got that goal. You can sense a little bit of a deflation in the Sheffield United fans. They were quite boisterous before, but I think they know the writing's on the wall now.
Patience, definitely the name of the game for City this afternoon. But they have got the breakthrough with Erling Haaland 5 minutes ago since that goal. With Diaz to Walker, and Diaz again just on the halfway line. Sheffield United happy to let Manchester City have the ball there, not really pressing or threatening, and the formation still it's 5-4-1 now, isn't it? It looks like from Sheffield United, as it has been 5-3-2 for large parts of this game. Here's Grealish, Vardiol, Ake. Manchester City strolling around. Diaz inside the centre circle. Manchester City's at number 3 now in his 4th season with the club, of the previous 3 haven't gone too badly so far. He's only played in the Community Shield so far this season, Ruben Diaz, so first chance for him is Grealish. Diaz just outside the centre circle. And again, back into it. Okay, I mean, City have this at their own.
Yeah, it's almost like a practice match, isn't it? Sheffield United don't really want to come out of their slots. City are just sort of rolling the ball around, sort of 10 yards inside their own half, and they're not in a rush. Sheffield United don't seem to any urgency at the moment. I think they just want the game to settle down a little bit. But yeah, so it's just it's pretty boring at the moment.
There you go. That's the sell from Nicky Weaver for you to keep listening. But Fotheringham, lovely piece of skill just to dummy it past Julian Alvarez, who was applying the press on this occasion. 1-0 to Manchester City. Here's Kovacic as the Blues look to extend their lead and extend the lead at the top of the Premier League as well. They'll have a 2-point cushion as the only side to have won all 3 games so far this season. Spurs have 7, Arsenal 2. Surprising result yesterday for Arsenal, drawing 2-2 at home to 10-man Fulham. Sheffield United are going to make a couple of changes here. Jayden Bogle's preparing to come on, as is Ollie McBurney as well. There's Bernardo Silva in from the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva's got space to shoot here. Twist back to his left-hand side and towards the byline, and overran it yet again. Had an option for a shot there, I think. Chose not to take it.
Yeah, he's been a little bit quiet this second half, Bernardo. Jack Grealish has seemed to have more of the ball, but he chopped and turned and twisted there and just sort of lost the ball at the crucial point where he thought he was just about to pull the trigger. Looks like Sheffield United are going to make a double substitution here.
Bogle and McBurney ready to come on. Attacking from Paul Heckingbottom, in fairness, with those substitutions, so it'll be interesting to see if it is like to like or if he's got something else on his mind. Alvarez feeds it through for Haaland. He's in again here, Erling Haaland.
He's offside.
And the flag goes up instantly. It did look that way. The finish was nice. He had to play on. Tucks it into the left-hand side at the near post of the goalkeeper. But he'll be denied that second goal, and so will Manchester City. Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1.
I don't know why they can't, you know, when it's so obvious he's offside, I don't know why they can't raise the flag there.
So George Baldock, who was on a yellow card, replaced by Jayden Bogle, and Will Ashulet, who's had a difficult task this afternoon. He's up front on his own. The support has been minimal, and he's replaced by Ollie McBurney.
Yeah, it's been difficult for Asula. He's put himself about a bit. He's not had great support. He's not had great service into him. He's got physical lads around him as well, so it's very difficult to play against, this City back four. So yeah, it's. I'm not saying he'll be pleased to get off, but he'll enjoy his drink of water on the bench, I think. And it'll be interesting to see, Ollie McBurney puts himself around a little bit, and they'll be looking for him for a bit of inspiration now.
Josh Gvardiol standing very close to Ollie McBurney and happy to let him win that header as well. Here is Traore. McBurney, right-hand corner of the penalty area, will be forced out towards the corner flag, and his little flick ball inside hits Rodri. Now Grealish can carry it forward. Surely trips as he cuts in field. Yeah, free kick. And he stayed down here, Grealish, and he's waving with his arm in the air in some pain down there. I think he wants to attract the attention of the physios. He felt that one.
Yeah, it might have been a knee into his thigh there. He's brilliant at drawing the foul, Jack Grealish. He had sort of nowhere to go. He's got 2 Sheffield United players on him. He just knocks the ball, and although I think he was trying to draw the foul. I think he was the most foul player in the Premier League last year, I think, if that's right.
He's had that record for about 2 or 3 years now, Jack Grealish.
Just the way he plays, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he does look genuinely hurt here, so it'll be interesting to see if we do see a Doku or a Foden.
Manchester City and injuries are going hand in hand this season a little bit. Kevin De Bruyne out for 4 months. John Stones won't be back until the international break. He's got a muscle injury. They've only just welcomed Ruben Diaz back. And where they are perhaps looking for reinforcements is out on the wings, and they're doing that because they don't feel they have enough already in that part of the field. So to lose Grealish would be a big blow. He is up, he's walking okay, and he'll just stand on the sidelines for a moment, having a chat with the 4th official David Coote down there as well. So Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1, with 17 minutes left of the 90.
I think the new rule is you can't go back on now for 30 seconds.
Is that right?
Yeah, because if you look, he'd normally be itching to go on, wouldn't he?
Larucci down the wing. Kyle Walker slides in on that far side.
The 4th official won't let him back on yet. He's got to wait for 30 seconds now.
Which probably makes sense. It was an old stupid thing, wasn't it? They'd go off and then they'd be back on within a second. Obviously benefits the team, but seems a bit pointless going off if you're just going to make them do that. Anyway, Sheffield United here have a throw in on the far side, level with the corner of the penalty area. Grealish is now allowed to return to the field, and this throw in is going into the box. The Cop stands on its feet. Edison makes the call. He punches down into the ground. Shot comes in from distance and absolutely belts Ruben Diaz, but he's thrown his body on the line. He makes the block and stops Sheffield United finding an unlikely equaliser. Danger not gone yet. Long range shot will drift well wide. Ambitious maybe, worth the effort from Anel Ahmed Hodzic, but still can't find a way through for Sheffield United. What a block from Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, a couple of hairy moments there. It comes a long way, does Edison, gets a half a punch on it, and yeah, it comes out to Hamer, I think, and yeah, Ruben Diaz throws his body on the line. He's got his arms behind his back. Fantastic defending. Yeah, and then there was a poor clearance again from Edison. So yeah, a couple of hairy moments for Edison, and probably Sheffield United's best two efforts on goal, really. So yeah, just shows that at 1-0, it's not all over.
Certainly not, and that might give Sheffield United a little bit of hope. 1-0 to Manchester City. Edison short. Inside his own penalty area, despite the pressure on Rodri from Traore. That's where he went with the ball. Return back to Edison, who now goes out to the right-hand side for Diaz. Back once more to the Manchester City goalkeeper. City at the moment keeping a clean sheet. They haven't kept a clean sheet in their first 3 Premier League games of a season since 2015 under Manuel Pellegrini. Never done it under Pep Guardiola. Not many records that are perhaps negative about the Manchester City boss, but that's one of them. They can keep 3 successive clean sheets, not only at the start of the season, but for the first time in the Premier League as a Manchester City side since December 2021 as well. Alvarez from distance, edge of the penalty area. Ball skips along the turf and well wide of the left-hand post. 15 minutes left in this game. Manchester City leading. Sheffield United, though, with a warning sign. Their danger is if they go too far forward.
Absolutely. But you just like that second goal, wouldn't you, just to sort of calm the nerves a little bit, because whenever it's 1-0, as it was last week, there's always, you've always got a fighter's chance. They've made a couple of positive substitutions, Sheffield United, so they've got a corner now, so you've got to make sure they defend this right and don't give Sheffield United a sniff.
Given that reaction, I'll just confirm it is a corner, not a goal. They were straight on their feet, all the Sheffield United fans. Ake slid in, ball goes over the byline.
This is the situations that they want, though. It's going to be very difficult for them to open City up, but if they can score from a set piece, that's they'll work on them hard in training. One thing I would say is City's got a very, very big team, so it's going to be difficult to get the first contact.
Norwood, out-swinging delivery from the right-hand side. Header is there, just wide from Ollie McBurney, who charged in to the front of the pack, 10 yards out, but sends it wide of the right-hand post.
Yeah, he's pulled off Ollie, but it's a really difficult header because he's probably in line with the penalty spot, but also in line with the front post as well, and it's slightly behind him, and he couldn't quite get enough direction on it. But it just shows you, see, you've got to be careful here. As you said, it sounded like Sheffield United had scored then, and they only got a corner, so the fans are still up for it. And City have just got to be careful here, and it would be nice to get that all-important second goal.
A couple of warning signs in the last couple of minutes for Manchester City on BBC Radio Manchester. Lovely play by Edison to Alvarez just outside the centre circle. He turns it round for Bernardo Silva, who is now on the charge down the middle of the pitch, and he's pulled over. Instant yellow card, and rightly so, I think, too, for Vinny Souza. As Bernardo set off again, like the first half, we saw it several times. The only way you're going to stop City in a run like that is to pull them down.
Tactical, fantastic play. Edison at the ball, clips it out to Alvarez, he's turned it round the corner first time into Silva, and the next minute he's getting a foul on the edge of their box. So yeah, really dangerous for me. It'd be interesting to see who fancies this one. I think Alvarez he's placed the ball, so I think he fancies it.
He has been the set piece man today. This to give Manchester City a little bit of breathing space. Chris Basham preparing to come on for Sheffield United.
Look, there's a little pep talk here going from Ruben Diaz, I think, Bernardo, Jack Grealish, Alvarez. I don't know if they're going to try and work something from this free kick, but they're definitely trying to talk about something.
Yeah, what have they done in training here? What can they practice? It's pretty central, ever so slightly to the left. It is 25 yards from goal, most definitely within shooting range. There is a huge Sheffield United wall with a couple of City players intercepting that wall. You imagine they'll break away. Hall and
imagine
Rodri.
West Fotheringham's got a good view of this because there's so many men in between. Oh, he's a little view now, perhaps. Oh, Diaz has gone and stood there.
A little window. City are going to move out the way here as Alvarez goes for goal. And Fotheringham parries round the post. It's a corner.
Yeah, you could just see Diaz then. He just dragged a couple over with him to try and block West Fotheringham's view. It's a decent free kick, but it didn't really get enough pace on, and it's not in the corner, and it ends up being a pretty comfortable save for West Fotheringham.
Yeah, good palms away from the goal to the the left-hand side as we look at it. So corner to City. Jack Grealish on this one. Alvarez stands on the edge of the D with Bernardo Silva. This one goes towards the 6-yard box. Header away by McBurney. He's at both ends doing his heading duties. As Kovacic flicks it up, Grealish will try and get the turn on Larouci. Will he get the cross in? No, he needs support out there. He's got 2 Sheffield United players around him. Tries to play it off one of them to win the corner. Somehow squeezes it through to Joshko Vardiol, who goes down. And Sheffield United struggling to clear it at the minute with Ollie Norwood. They do to the halfway line eventually. Vardiol is back on his feet after going down momentarily. Throw into the Blades on this near side, they're right. Is this the time that we see the former Bolton and Rochdale man in Chris Basham? It is, and he's going to replace Ollie Norwood as well.
Yeah, Basham has been at Sheffield United for years now. He's had a few promotions with them, bit of a fan's favourite. He'll try and get the ball, carry it a bit further. He'll probably be a bit higher than Norwood was. So yeah, again, Sheffield United, they've got just over 10 minutes to try and rescue something out of this game.
Basham now 35 years old, joined the club in 2014. His 388th Sheffield United appearance in all competitions now. 10 minutes left of this game on BBC Radio Manchester, and it's Manchester City that lead by a 1-0. Continuing their perfect start to the season. Here's Hamer. Out towards the left-hand side, Robinson, Larouci. In towards Traore. A run had been made there by Hamer. Traore chose not to go for it. He's been fouled. He's won a free kick. Sheffield United fans are happy with that again. You can imagine the Sheffield phone in afterwards is going to be very much based around the referee, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it obviously from blue tinted glasses, aren't we? And it's been sort of okay from our point of view. But yeah, the Sheffield United fans will not be happy with the referee, and they've let him know that.
That said, there was some talk in the press room at half-time that maybe Manchester City should have had a couple of more penalties given to them in the first half. So Jared Gillett, not everybody's cup of tea today. Here are the Blades on the right-hand side with Ahmed Hodzic, Larouci. Oh, easily guides his way past Bernardo Silva, gets himself forward on the left-hand side. The run is made by Traore, and he's got the pace to go around Kyle Walker, who brings him down, and Gillett is unmoved again. The referee says no. Had a decision to make, might have just been outside the box, but either way it seemed a little risky from Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I don't think there was enough in it for me. Traore gets the run on him. It's a good ball in from Larouci. He has a good touch, gets the run in, puts his arm across, but I don't think there's enough there. It's pitched to be the softest penalty I've ever seen, I think.
But it's outside the box as well, isn't it? I think. Yeah. He goes down.
He did get the run on him though. You know, it was a dangerous situation. And here comes the long throw into the box,
which is towards the 6-yard box. It's taken on the chest of Vinny Souza. Cleared away by Manchester City. It is another throw in to the Blades. So reset inside the penalty area, because there's only one place that this is going, or not, as it goes back towards the halfway line. 8 minutes left. Manchester City leading 1-0. Now Sheffield United. No, they've gone through 82 minutes. Will they start to apply a little bit more pressure? And Bramall Lane will certainly help with that. A second City goal could really finish it off, and they're going to try and get it. Haaland's going down the middle. Can Grealish find him? No. Nicked in the back. He goes down. It's a foul and a free kick. Ahmed Hodzic is not impressed. Egan goes into the book for the foul. And Manchester City have a free kick.
Yeah, it looks as though if Grealish could have just got the ball through there for Haaland, who made a great run. I don't think there'd have been any stopping him, so there's no reason for Grealish to go down. And I think he just gets a little... Yeah, he just drags him down. And again, I think Grealish is looking for it, so might be a little bit of an unfortunate yellow card, but is the master at it, Jack Grealish.
The fourth Sheffield United player to go into the book. The second one to go in the book following a foul on Jack Grealish. Here's Ake. Back to his own goalkeeper in Edison. The sun back out at Bramall Lane, shining on the pitch. Little strip on this near side, running the full length of the pitch in shade, and the entire of West Fotheringham's box in shade as well, but the rest of the pitch bathed in the warm sunshine of South Yorkshire. 6.5 minutes left to go. 1-0 to City. Haaland, told you there's just not many goals in this fixture. 11 goals in the previous 10 games in the Premier League. Here is Grealish forward for Manchester City from the left-hand corner of the penalty. Just lays it back for Kovacic on the edge of the D. Low shot. And Fotheringham dives down to his left-hand side, makes the save. Might have seen that late. It's a good save from the Sheffield United goalkeeper.
Yeah, decent save. Didn't really get hold of the shot. Kovacic was just sort of slipping, I think, as he hits it. Not really too much. It looks like Man City might be making a sub here as the card goes into the fourth official.
Interesting to see who emerges from that dugout. Tripped off and ready to come on. Here is Traore on the left-hand side. Is he going to give Walker more nightmares? Not that time. Oh, Walker's back-heeled it and giving it to Traore, who lays it into the middle for Basham. Might come to this near side. Here is Bogle! Sheffield United have played their game and they've got their rewards. Bogle in space on the right-hand side. Fires it into the bottom left-hand corner. And Sheffield United are level against the champions, and they've got their goal. It's a big goal and a big team celebration on this near side. Sheffield United 1, Manchester City 1.
Yeah, I don't know what Kyle Walker's doing over the far side of the area. He's tried to backheel the ball. It's gone straight to Traore. It ends up, I don't know what he's doing, Kyle Walker. He's fully in control of it. He can kick it out for a throw, and he's tried to backheel it to Bernardo Silva. The ball gets broken out to Jayden Bogle, who's had a touch, but it's a thunderous shot. I think McBurney, I think this one could be disallowed. I think McBurney's in Edison's way, yeah.
So yeah, it's all to do with interference of play here, isn't it? Bogle's shot drilled through past Vardiol, past Ake. Now does McBurney obstruct Edison? I think the ball's past him, isn't it? I think this will stand.
Yeah, it looks like it's been given. So it'd have been even less popular than it already was, but Phil Foden's on now. So City need a real spark into life now. They're going to have 4 minutes plus injury time to try and salvage a win out of this game. We always said they needed that second goal. They didn't get it. They've been wasteful in front of goal. Let's hope it doesn't cost them.
Kovacic replaced by Phil Foden then. Feeling a little bit ill, he travelled to the game on his own, but now the best medicine would be to help Manchester City to a win, and Walker wants to make amends. Here is Foden in the penalty area, lays it off, shot goes over the bar from Julian Alvarez. Right-footed, the perfect layoff. It was the perfect play down the right from City, but Alvarez digs under it and over the bar, and he's still 1-1.
Yeah, great play from Kyle Walker down the right-hand side, jinks in between a couple of defenders, gives it to Foden, who jinks past someone, and it was just a little bit awkward for Alvarez. He couldn't quite get his foot round it, and a little bit of lean back, and he's put it over. But Bramall Lane's really rocking now, but they've probably got a good 10 or 12 minutes to go yet, so plenty of time for City.
1-1. Third Premier League game of the season. No one in the Premier League has a 100% record after 3 games. Arsenal and Spurs with 7. Brighton slipped up yesterday, losing at home to West Ham. City stalling here at the Lane, 1-1.
Just shows you when you're wasteful mark in front of goal like they have been. You know, you think you're going to be okay, but all it takes is one strike or a deflected shot or a set piece. You know, and let's hope it doesn't cost City, because ultimately they'll shot themselves in the foot.
Foden's won the ball back, gives it to Alvarez. He wants to put in Haaland, but Sheffield United have managed to get a little nick on the ball to take it away from the Norwegian. Here's Grealish on the left-hand side, picking up that loose ball. Into the penalty area he goes. Back to Foden, who's got his back to goal and has to lay it out to this near side touchline for Bernardo Silva. Cross comes in, Haaland attacks and misses by fractions. If there was any connection, that's in. Walker's won it back on the touchline on the far side. Now he puts a low ball into Foden. Rodri! Oh! Thunderous hit! First time hit! And City are back in front. The ball nearly rips the net off. And Manchester City, with 2 minutes left in this second half, might just have won it. Sheffield United 1, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, and the City fans are really enjoying that. He's had a couple of efforts this afternoon, Rodri, but he's absolutely lashed that into the top corner of the goal. And you say since Sheffield United have scored, they've had a couple of good chances, City. Sheffield United all over the place at the back. Walker's been really good down that right-hand side. Foden's had some nice, intricate touches around the edge of the box. And it's a ball in. Haaland looks like he's going to get on the end of it. Kyle Walker retrieves it. Lamucci should do better here. He's tried to guide it out. Walker cuts back into Foden, has a bit of a dodgy touch, and it will go down as an assist for Foden perhaps, but he has a bit of a bad touch and it falls to Rodri, and he's absolutely lashed it into the, I don't think 4 goalkeepers would have stopped that. It's gone right in the top corner.
Away from home this season, Manchester City have only had 2 scorers so far, Erling Haaland and Rodri against Burnley. It's Erling Haaland and Rodri against Sheffield United. What a hit, flew into the top left-hand corner. He had a couple of dodgy shots at the start of the second half, Rodri. That one makes amends, and the same for Kyle Walker too, who you could hold responsible for the Sheffield United goal. McBurney though is going to chip it in. And how has Sheffield United not equalised there? Who was diving in? I think it's Ahmed Hodzic diving in, stretching at the back post. McBurney set it up beautifully on the right-hand side. Space for him, hung the cross up, past Ruben Diaz at the back post.
I don't know why he didn't go with his head. Maybe it's a bit far in front of him, but yeah, it's a great chance. And do you know what? It's been more entertaining than probably the last 10 minutes than it has for the first 80.
It's come alive. Ahmed Hodzic, you're right. Kind of karate kicked it in the end, didn't he? 7 minutes. That might give Sheffield United some hope. City will want daylight between themselves and the Blades. Ball over the top. Oh, the defence has missed that. Here's Haaland in the penalty area. Oh, he wants the back. What's with all the back heels today? Because Haaland's now tried one and Foden can't get on the end of it, and Sheffield United are able to see it up to the halfway line. Here's Diaz, knocks it down for Rodri. Grealish, loose ball, falls to the England international. Manchester City leading this one 2-1. Sheffield United thought they got a crucial point. Manchester City heading for 3 wins from 3 at the start of the season. Here's Walker. Diaz. Back to Walker again in space. City probably want to calm this down a little bit.
Yeah, they just need to get some passes in, spread the pitch. Oof, but Kyle Walker again, a loose pass, nearly got cut out. They've been their own worst enemy, really. They've missed chances. Obviously, Kyle Walker made the mistake for the goal. So yeah, they've just invited a little bit of pressure on. And you've got to finish these sort of games off, because, if you keep doing it throughout the season, there'll be times, here we are again, look.
Diaz with a misplaced pass. Here's Larucci, responsible for City's second goal. Wants to try and get Sheffield United level with the left-footed shot that he digs under, a bit like Alvarez 5 minutes ago or so, and over the bar and into the cop.
Yeah, they've been really sloppy, City. Diaz there, pretty much comfortable possession. Plays it straight out to Lamucci. Plays a 1-2. And he should do better, Lamucci there. He snatched at the shot. Probably saw the headlines tomorrow in the papers. But yeah, Sheffield United have had the chances even after City's second goal. And there's still another 5 minutes left.
And they are well above average goals in this fixture with 3 today. A 4th would be really abnormal. Edison with the goal kick. Nothing fancy from him. He's going long. He's absolutely pelted that nearly to the edge of the D inside the Sheffield United half. Grealish. He's fouled. Free kick, left-hand side of the field.
Yeah, again, City just need to settle this down a little bit. It's got a little bit. It's a game that they should be in total control of, and it's just got a little bit frantic. So they've got to try and take the sting out of the game. Sheffield United are going to go all out guns blazing this next 4 or 5 minutes, and so they've just got to. They've been in this situation so many times, and they've got Pep will be absolutely, he'll be jumping out of his bed, I think, his hospital bed. But yeah, just been so sloppy and so careless at the back.
0800 218 2255. The phone lines are open on Total Sport to have your say with Nicky Weaver. It's about 4:30 this afternoon, 20 to 5. Then a chance to hear our latest We're Not Really Here podcast, the Manchester Pride special. But the number you need is 0800 218 2255. Stacey will be joined by Jack and Trevor after 5 for your rugby league chat as well, your traditional hour of rugby league talk on the way. Same phone number if you want to get involved with that as well, 0800 218 2255. Foden shot from the right of the penalty area. deflects, and Manchester City have a corner on this near side, the left.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any rush to take this. He's looked really bright since he come on. Phil Foden, he's got the ball in some dangerous areas. Obviously, as you said, he's been ill overnight, so he came here separately. But yeah, he's come on. He's looked really bright, and I think City now will just take the time with his corner. It's not often you see City trying to run the clock down like this at somewhere like Sheffield United, but needs must. And at the end of the day, the performance has been sort of okay. They've just been a little bit wasteful in front of goal, not been great in their own box. But what you would imagine to be a comfortable afternoon has turned out anything but. But ultimately, in the end, if they end up with the 3 points, that's the main thing.
3 points on the way, 3 minutes left of added time at the end of this second half. City toying with Sheffield United in the corner down towards our left-hand side, City's near side. Eventually Sheffield United are able to clear it. Traore, little push on Nathan Ake. Yeah, free kick given. And the Blades fans won't like that. Traore won't like that, but it was a push. Ake down on the floor, he's up now. It has finished at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Aston Villa 3. So life in the Premier League a little difficult for the Clarets so far. 2 games for them, 2 defeats, conceding 3 in both of those games as well. Rain started to set in at Bramall Lane as well. A little bit of drizzle with the wind swirling round. Drizzle whips around on the pitch. Rodri. 2 minutes left. Manchester City 2-1 up. Oh, Foden, so creative since he's come on. Sets Walker on the right-hand side. Low ball into the box. Hits Foden. He'll keep it in on the byline as well. The cross is deep. And Jack Grealish will bring the ball down just outside the left of the penalty area. Guardiola in support, but it's infield where Grealish goes to use Bernardo Silva. Foden on the turn. Foden with the skill. Alvarez tries to help him out a little bit as the ball ran away from him. Sheffield United win it back. Bogle, their goal scorer, helps to start them off. They've piled the ball forward. Guardiola reads it well. Game a little stretched here. The field certainly a little bit stretched, and City with the control could have probably, at a different point in the game, would have pressed Sheffield United a lot more there and really worried their defence. They don't have to. They lead 2-1. Here's Bernardo Silva. I'll ask Nicky Weaver for his player of the match in just a moment. Diaz out on the right-hand side. Here is Phil Foden, man of the match against Newcastle United. He's only had a cameo here, but he's been so noticeable since he came on. Manchester City led through Haaland. Bogle equalised for Sheffield United late on, but a couple of minutes after that, Rodri was there to fire City back in front into the final minute of the game. Then City inside their own half, just on the edge of the centre circle, with Ruben Diaz, who gets player of the match for you, Nicky Weaver, today.
A difficult one, really, because it's not been a vintage City performance, but I think Jack Grealish has come into the game second half. He set the first goal up with a bit of great wing play and a bit of trickery, so I'll give it to Jack Grealish, although it's not been a vintage City performance by all means. 1 or 2 disappointing performances out there, really, and it's been a disappointing performance, but ultimately it's a game that they should have comfortably had the lead, and the last sort of 20 minutes, half an hour should have been comfortable if it's been anything but credit Sheffield United for that.
Edison under a bit of pressure from McBurney, just blasts it into the Sheffield United half. Many fans feel that their day is done at Bramall Lane and head for the exits as well. They have held on. The Sheffield United have more than held on at times. That is the 7 minutes up at Bramall Lane for added time, so down to Jared Gillett now, and it is only a minimum. He can add on what he wants. Is he going to give Sheffield United one last attack? Diaz heads it back towards the halfway line. The full-time whistle goes. Well, in the words of Nicky Weaver, it wasn't vintage, but Manchester City make it 3 wins from 3 to start the season. Erling Haaland putting them ahead on 62 minutes, and then as Sheffield United held on and held out the 1-0 deficit, they started to attack a little bit more. Substitute Jayden Bogle tucking it into the bottom left-hand corner with just 5 minutes to go, and the Bramall Lane thought they had their party, but Rodri wasn't done yet, and he fired the ball into the top left-hand corner of the goal. First time hit, it was a screamer from the edge of the penalty area. Make sure you catch that one tonight. But City are top of the table, 3 wins from 3. Perfect start. It's finished here. Sheffield United 1, Manchester City 2.
Well, Nicky, goodness me, that certainly caught fire, didn't it, in the closing minutes. Before that, I think the most interesting thing was the fan who managed to get his way onto the pitch and hug Haaland and celebrate with him. But it certainly caught fire towards the end there. Let's talk about, before anything else, that Rodri strike. Goodness me, there was no stopping that.
Absolutely, yeah. He pulled the trigger with his left foot on the half volley. It was a bit of a bad touch from Foden, actually, that laid him in. And he unleashed a shot that, no keeper in the world would have saved. He had a couple of shots earlier on. There was nothing like that. But, yeah, we've seen him score some, very important goals over the last couple of years. And that's another very important one. And it was a great strike right into the top corner, right in front of the City fans. And they... it was a bit subdued from them for most of the game, but they really did come alive after that goal, that is for sure.
A couple of key, turning points in the game, of course, one of which was Haaland scoring. We're used to seeing him celebrate, of course. This time it was more a look of relief, though. Obviously pleased to score, but a real show of relief given that he'd missed a couple of chances. Of course, he didn't convert the penalty. Ultimately, a good finish. Great play from Grealish in the build-up as well. But he did have a look of relief, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Obviously, he missed the penalty, which, you should always... Well, he should at least hit the target, the penalty. He had another great chance midway through the second half where Wes Fothergill made an unbelievable save. And then, yeah, when he scored the header, great play from Jack Grealish down this left-hand side, stood it up, and it's a good header at the back post. And like I say, it would have been more relief than anything, because on another day, Erling Haaland could have had 3 or 4, but... not vintage City today as the players are coming off the pitch now clapping the travelling fans. Not vintage City by any stretch of the imagination, but ultimately they've got the 3 points at the top of the league.
Somebody else who'll be relieved, of course, is Kyle Walker. He had a huge role to play in, of course, setting up the opportunity for Rodri. But prior to that, a massive part, unfortunately, in giving Sheffield United their opportunity. What was he thinking?
Well, I'm not really sure. He got the ball in his possession. All right. He could have just... He didn't want to give a corner away, I get that. He could have just kicked it out for a throw-in. He tried to be a little bit clever, back-heel it. I think it was to Bernardo Silva, which, I'm not an expert, but back-heeling in your own box is never advisable. And it got cut out, and it fell to Bogle, who ended up scoring. So, yeah, City have sort of got away with one today. And even late on, they had some chances. Diaz gave a sloppy pass away in his own box. What should have been a routine, end to the game wasn't, and City were made to work for the win. Ultimately, they've got the win, which is the most important thing, but there'll be concerning things there for Pep.
Some of the tweets that I shared with you at half-time from fans included people calling for Foden and saying we need something to happen in the middle. In the absence of De Bruyne, we need Foden. You were mentioning he's very enterprising and creative in his play. Is that something that'd been lacking, and what difference did he make when he joined the play?
Yeah, he wasn't on for long, but he certainly made an impact. He got the ball in the dangerous areas, in and around the sort of, the Kevin De Bruyne positions, if you like. And he slipped a couple of good passes in, created a couple of things, so he looked really lively. Although he was only on for sort of 15 minutes or so, or 20 minutes, whatever it was. But he did well. I'd like to see him start the next game. Possibly will. Obviously, it sounds like he's been ill overnight, so there might be a reason why he didn't start today. But he certainly looked lively when he come on, and I think he'll end up getting an assist for Rodri's goal, although it was a bit of a missed touch of his inside the box. And like I say, Kyle Walker, he made a mistake at one end, but he made amends at the other end. He squared the ball for Foden, who then had a missed touch, and Rodri lashed it into the net. So, yeah, very lucky City today to get away with all 3 points.
Absolutely. Well, Nicky Weaver, of course, former City keeper, has been part of your commentary team today, will be with us until 4:30.